Okay, guys. It is 1,800 hours. Attention to detail. I'm going to call this regular council meeting 2025-17 to order. The invocation will be given by Pastor Ken Delgado of the House Church, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Councilman Mike Hammer. Please rise. Oh. Pastor Ken?
Thank you, Mayor. The invocation today is based on June 28, 1787, from Benjamin Franklin in the James Madison's note on the Federal Convention, to which he said, "We shall be divided by our little, partial, local interests. Our projects will be confounded, and we ourselves shall become a reproach and a byword down to future ages. I therefore beg leave to move that henceforth prayers, imploring the assistance of heaven and to the blessing and its blessing on our deliberations be held in the assembly every morning before we proceed to business, and that one or more of the clergy of the city be requested to officiate that service." Father, we come to you in the power of the name of Jesus. I am reminded that when these delegates were actually convening on this fledgling country called the United States of America and potentially dividing the country for differences on how to equally represent the states and the people therein, they stopped and inquired for wisdom from on high, and there birthed the two houses of Congress, the Senate and the House of Representatives. Today, Father, I equally cry out, we need wisdom to keep unity in this city. We need knowledge to make wise decisions. We need understanding so that our thoughts, steps, and actions are led not by our reasoning, but by your Holy Spirit. We need your wisdom so that this city indeed will become like a city set on a hill, a light for other cities to see how peace rules and thrives with truth and grace. Give us favor for light industrial businesses to come to this city. Empower us to complete infrastructure through your blessing and not on the backs of more taxes on your people. Fill this chamber with your presence. Let hearts be drawn through you, to you, through your Son, Jesus Christ. Let this city be known for the blessing of your hand on all that we do. I pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hoorah! You know, I'm always motivated when we all say the Pledge of Allegiance in unison, so thank you all for your participation in that. Mrs. Jones, roll call.
Mayor Medina.
Present.
Deputy Mayor Jaffe.
Present.
Councilman Johnson.
Present.
Councilman Hammer.
Present.
Councilman Langevin.
Present.
Mr. Morton.
Present.
Ms. Smith. Present.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor, announcements?
We have one vacancy on the Recreation Advisory Board, represents at-large position. Anyone wishing to serve on these boards can apply online at palmbayflorida.org or contact the city clerk's office at 952-3414.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. We're now on agenda revisions. Mr. Morton.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, City Council. I have four. A presentation for Claremont Sewer Main Break has been added to item number 2 under presentations. Also under presentations to item number 3, I believe that would make it. We have a video presentation from Congressman Mike Karadopoulos. Additionally, the placeholder for item number 5 under new business has been updated accordingly from the July 10th budget workshop. And then the presentation on the certification of taxable values and proposed millage rates has been added under 5 as new business. It was just a placeholder. That staff report is there, additionally with 2 slides as part of that presentation.
Thank you.
Mayor, just for clarity, I believe our policy allows for 2 presentations. So I make a motion that we allow the third presentation under council, or under presentations.
So I got a motion by Deputy Mayor Jaffe. I need a second.
Second.
I got a second by Councilman Johnson. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. We added a third presentation. Agenda revisions, Ms. Smith. No agenda. Council, before I move on, Mrs. Jones.
Yes, sir. The item number 4 in the new business regarding the city boards, I have included additional documentation for council's review.
Thank you. Council, any other agenda revisions?
Yes, Mayor, I would like to move public hearing number 2 before presentations.
Public hearing
Second.
number 2, before presentations?
Yes, sir, for Giovanna Alonso Cabrera.
Yeah, they did stay here quite a long, lengthy meeting last time. Okay. So, after proclamations to.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, I got a motion by Councilman Johnson, seconded by Deputy Mayor Jaffe. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Mayor,
Any opposed? Any opposed? Passes unanimously.
I had one, under public hearings, I'd like to make a motion to move number 5 before number 4.
Second.
Okay, I've got a motion to move item number 5 under public hearings to prior to number 4, so kind of switch them around. All in favor, I got a motion by Deputy Mayor Jaffe, seconded by Councilman Johnson. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you. So now we're on proclamations and recognitions. So I'm going to ask the owners of the Shack Riverfront to come on up. Rob and Kathy, come on up. And then we're going to have Travis join us too. And why don't we bring up your whole team? Come on. Because last time they were here. Yeah, no, you could. Those are all your customers? Okay. All right, so everybody come on up. That's awesome. These are your faithful, huh? Well, that's important because without your patronage, you wouldn't be successful. Come on up. All right, so the very first thing is this is the Shack. This is our Mayor's Business Spotlight program for our quarter, whereas it is hereby recognized by the mayor of the greatest city on the face of the earth we call Palm Bay. Brevard County, Florida, whereas the Shack Riverfront Restaurant and Outback Tiki Bar is recognized as the Mayor's Business Spotlight program recipient for the third quarter of the year 2025. And whereas the Shack, located at 4845 Dixie Highway Northeast, where? On US 1, has been established in business in the Palm Bay community since the early 1950s. Now stop and think about that. The city of Palm Bay was incorporated in 1960, so they existed before the city existed. and fortunately, the city annexed them in. Whereas the Shack is a local female and veteran-owned restaurant featuring a new tiki bar and deck, fresh menu, scenic views, and fun for all. And whereas the Shack has shown significant business growth since changing ownership in 2019 by doubling sales, hiring additional staff, continuing to reinvest in the restaurant as they undergo renovations to offer an enhanced waterfront dining experience. And whereas the Shack is a servant to our community by their good corporate citizenship, as they have partnered with organizations such as the American Legion to host many private events for fallen soldiers and Cancer Foundation programs. And whereas the Shack maintains high ratings across various platforms such as Google, Facebook, Yelp, with many customers praising the scenery and delicious food. And whereas the Shack is innovative in offering not only a meal, but an experience by hosting numerous events and live music throughout the week, expanding the footprint of the restaurant, complimentary valet parking, and bringing celebrity chef level talent to truly make a foodie destination. Now, therefore, I, Rob Medina, Mayor of the City of Palm Bay, by virtue of said authority of that office, hereby recognize the Shack Riverfront Restaurant and Outback Tiki Bar in the City of Palm Bay for the third quarter, recipients of the third quarter of the Mayor's Business Spotlight this year of 2025. In witness hereof, I've set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Palm Bay to be affixed this 17th day of July, 2025. Congratulations, team. And I want to add, if you haven't been to the Shack, I highly recommend that you visit them. Not only do they have outstanding chow, they have such a great opportunity with the atmosphere and the ambiance, if you will. So without further ado, I'm going to call up, is it Travis that's speaking, or are you, Kathy? Yeah, all right, come on up. Congratulations, Rob.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
This is a great honor, first of all. We're very, very happy that somehow we got elected. I don't know how. But we want to thank, first of all, the City of Palm Bay, because they've really had our back and pushed with us. Our customers, all of our guests, they're fantastic. The Team Shack would not be able to serve you the way that you should and deserve to be served. We do have further vision, believe it or not. As much as my wife is trying to stop me from spending money, we would like to extend our deck 20 by 100 feet to use to hopefully host wedding parties, wedding venues, corporate events. We really think it'll help bring people to Palm Bay, to the Shack restaurant. And don't take it the wrong way. I love Palm Bay, but I love the Shack a little bit more because that's what pays the bills. But we're going to do everything we can to hopefully get that through. So anybody in here that can help, come on down, I'll buy you a drink. Thank you very much. It's a great honor.
I'll go over all the events for those that don't know. Right now we are having all-you-can-eat crab legs. On Mondays, Tuesdays we got karaoke. Wednesdays we have ladies' night, dirty bingo. And Thursday we have some of our dirty bingo. Country night on Thursday nights, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday we do have live music. 6:30 to 10:30 Friday, or 6 to 10 on Thursdays, 6:30 to 10:30 on Fridays. We usually host a solo acoustic on Saturdays from 12:30 to 4:30, so it's got a good little tiki vibe. And you never know what we're going to have on Saturday night, but a lot of times it's concert quality. You feel like you should be paying for it. And 2:30 to 6:30 on Sundays. Come on out and see us. Appreciate the support.
So just to clarify a little bit, they have invested countless dollars in this new Shack restaurant. But what's moreover and important is not only are they investing in our community, they're employing additional staffers. And that was the purpose of the Mayor's Business Spotlight, is to increase your sales so you'll be able to employ more families and have families prospering within our city. So thank you. Come on over. Let me take a picture of it. Sir. We're good. Just pass. I got it right there. I got it.
Congratulations. Fantastic. Congratulations.
Congratulations, brother. Good to see you. Nice haircut, by the way. Okay, now we're celebrating Parks and Recreation Month, so with the whole team, come on up. Come on up, team. It is Parks and Recreation Month, July 2025. It is hereby proclaimed by the Mayor of the City of Palm Bay, Brevard County, Florida, whereas Parks and Recreation is an integral part of communities throughout this country, including the City of Palm Bay. Whereas Parks and Recreation promotes health and wellness, improving the physical and mental health of people who live near parks. And whereas Parks and Recreation promotes time spent in nature, which positively impacts mental health by increasing cognitive performance and well-being and alleviating illnesses such as depression, attention deficit disorder, and Alzheimer's disease. Whereas Parks and Recreation encourages physical activities by providing space for popular sports, hiking, trails, swimming pools, and many other activities designed to promote active lifestyles, baseball, football. Whereas Parks and Recreation is the leading provider of healthy meals, nutrition services, and education. And whereas Parks and Recreation programming and education activities such as out of school time programming, youth sports, environmental education, and educational are critical to childhood development. And whereas Parks and Recreation increases a community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of the local tax base, increased tourism, the attraction and retention of businesses, and crime reduction. And whereas Parks and Recreation is fundamental to the environmental well-being of our community. Whereas Parks and Recreation is essential to adaptable infrastructure that makes our communities resilient in the face of natural disasters and climate change. Whereas our parks and natural recreation areas ensure ecological beauty and our community and provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature and recreate outdoors. Whereas the U.S. House of Representatives has designated July as Parks and Recreation Month. And whereas the City of Palm Bay recognizes the benefits derived from parks and recreation resources. Now therefore, I, Rob Medina, Mayor of the City of Palm Bay, by virtue of the authority of said office, do hereby proclaim the month of July as Parks and Recreation Month in the City of Palm Bay, and urge all our citizens to actively participate in parks. Get out of the house and enjoy the activities and support programs that work toward creating a healthy community and improve the well-being of all our city as a whole. In witness hereof, I set my cause. I set the seal of the city to be affixed this 17th day of July. Daniel, come on up and receive the proclamation. Next time, I want to start thereafter.
All right, good evening, everyone. I'm Daniel, the Recreation Director, and I'm here with Greg Miner, Parks and Facilities Director. So July is Parks and Recreation Month. Just to go quick, I just want to recognize what we have, a lot of our recreation teams up here that's behind the scenes, and then our Parks and Facilities team as well, who's very vital for a lot of the daily maintenance, the field prep, event support, and they're very behind the scenes to keep everything up and running inside of the parks and our facilities. I also want to recognize our instructors. They deliver the classes and the programs, our counselors at the camps, and they provide the positive experiences for everyone that participates in our programs. The volunteers that donate their time and energy that are here in the community and want to get back to our events and programs, and our community partners that offer sports leagues and enrichment programs, and our partners also that are offering other camps as well. They fill a lot of service gaps for us that we're unable to provide. And in closing, just want to go over, if you have put these on your seats here, we got QR codes. You can sign up for our newsletter, and there's also a QR code there for our activity guide, which is going to go out 3 times a year, so you'll be able to access what programs and what you guys can sign up for coming up and see when our events are coming. And then we're going to play a short video here, but even though we got a recreation and parks and facilities, I also like to give a big shout out to every department that's here: PD, Public Works, Fires, Utilities, Finance, Procurement, HR, everything that happens behind the scenes. And one of the biggest ones, especially for the video you're going to see, our Independence Day celebration. Every department has a role in that event. So we'll finish this off with that video.
That was a great Independence Day. I'll just share that with you. But listen, I wanted to add something because I noticed that one of our employees, Eric Sherman, I'm going to ask him to come up because I want him to say a few words because he's got something on his chest that really inspired and motivated me. Mr. Sherman, come on up here and share with the audience what is that tag on your chest.
So I was lucky enough to be selected with our new city manager for a program called Light Training that I'm involved in. And this was part of my homework to wear this name tag every day of the week until next Wednesday to honor the person that inspired me most in life. And that was my mom. That's where I get a lot of my leadership skills from.
So we are now on our public hearings, item number 2. Madam Smith.
Ordinance 2025-23, an ordinance of the City of Palm Bay, Brevard County, Florida, vacating and abandoning a portion of the rear 20-foot public utility and drainage easement located within Lot 21, Block 2018, Port Malabar Unit 46, according to the plat thereof, as recorded in Plat Book 22, page 62 of the Public Records of Brevard County, Florida, and legally described herein, providing for an effective date.
I'm going to open up the public hearing. Ask Mr. Morton. You wanted to share anything?
Just let you know, staff had no adverse comments regarding the removal of this utility and drainage easement. They are here for questions, but they had no objections. Neither did any of the easement users or potential partners, which include Florida Power and Light, AT&T, and Spectrum. They additionally had no objections.
Thank you. Madam Cabrera?
Yes.
Would you like to add anything?
No, thank you very much for your time.
Okay. I need a motion.
Any other comments from public comments?
As you were.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead and step aside for a second. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak for or against this item? No, you don't have to go far. In case somebody does have something to say. Is there anyone in this audience that wishes to speak for or against this item? Seeing none, I'm asking for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Councilman Johnson, second by Deputy Mayor Jaffe. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Congratulations, ma'am. You can build your pool. Way to go. Okay, now, we are on presentations, and, Mr. Morton. No. You're calling up the.
So we have Nancy Peletonen, President and CEO of the Greater Palm Bay Chamber of Commerce, and here to give the semi-annual update. I think she has some staff with her as well.
Thank you.
So I gave each of you a little packet. We have a number of things to go over because I think this will be my last presentation to you as President and CEO of the Greater Palm Bay Chamber of Commerce, as I will be retiring at the end of this year. After 10 years of guiding the Chamber, I'm happy to report we have come a very long way. When I walked in the door of the Chamber on September 14th, 2015, we had $9,182.16 in the bank, and our net income was a negative $547.94. Over the years, we've raised our savings by over 5,018%, close to almost $500,000, and we have provided security for our chamber partners to know that they've invested wisely in a chamber that will continue to be there for them and helping them connect and grow their business through the good times and the bad. In May, this is in your packet, the Orlando Business Journal recognized our chamber as the fastest growing chamber in Central Florida with a year-over-year revenue growth of 66% increase. The second page behind that shows that our chamber also moved from number 19 on their list in 2022 to number 12. So these are the most recent reported numbers. It's kind of amazing to think the Greater Palm Bay Chamber is the fastest growing chamber in Central Florida. I know we're the second largest city, but we're not the largest with the number of businesses that are in Palm Bay. So we're very excited to hear that. Our membership has grown from roughly 250 partners to just short of 600. We have added over the years new trustee levels. We've added media partners. We've tried a wide variety of programs, initiatives, and events over the 10 years. I know a lot of you have attended some of those. I can say that we are a very innovative chamber. We've grown from 2 employees to 5 and 2 contract employees, and we really have become trailblazers in space, science, technology, AI, cybersecurity, manufacturing, and emerging technologies with our annual Space Coast Symposium and our monthly Space Coast Alliance for Tech and Innovation meetings. And we have those at Florida Tech's Vertex facilities in Palm Bay. In your packet, you'll see a list of all the speakers that we've had at SCADI since it started. It's on the front and the back. We've had companies like Microsoft, NASA, Lockheed Martin, ULA, Satcom, L3 Harris, Boeing, etc. The list goes on every month. It's been interesting and fascinating. It's one of my favorite things that we do. We've also introduced a new SCADI membership. It's called the Investor Circle. That's also in your packet, and that's the brochure. And we are focusing on those businesses in a more concentrated way, as much as we, are there for no matter what size business or corporation. We're finding that some that are in that realm, the ribbon cuttings and that are not something that they are looking to participate in. So it is a more concentrated membership, and we're very excited about that. We're also excited to have the Office of Small Business Programs from NASA as speakers at our July SCADI meeting. So another flyer, gave you lots of flyers. Another flyer is in there. And at that time, we're also going to celebrate, it's the 75th anniversary of the first rocket launch from Cape Canaveral. So I have the commemorative pin. It was called Bumper 8, and it was actually launched on July 24th. So we'll have a little celebration at our SCADI breakfast. I also gave you a business directory and community guide. You did get one of these in January, but I put another in the packet. It is not just a resource guide for the community, but for the tourists that stop into our Chamber Welcome Center. We promote South Brevard and are working on updates to our website to enhance the listings of things to do throughout the entire county in support of the Space Coast Office of Tourism. As I mentioned, our biggest event of the year is coming up. It is the Space Coast Symposium and Expo, which will be held on August 22nd at the Radisson, at the Port, in the Convention Center, and the Pavilion. We're taking over both locations. The expo in the Pavilion, it's free and open to the public. We are hoping that students will come to see all the robotics. AVTech will have a demonstration. We have the little robot Pepper and the robotic dog. They can also come for the fireside chat. We have Andy Allen, who is the CEO of Aerodyne Industries. He was a Top Gun. He's also an astronaut who's logged more than 900 hours in space. And so we'll have a nice chat with him. So we're hoping that, like I said, the public can come to the pavilion side of it. And that is happening during our Space Happy Hour, which will be from 3:30 to 5. I'm also really excited to announce at the symposium, this is how I can retire, because we finally got SpaceX. It took me years of asking everybody I know, sending out emails over and over, getting no's, but not giving up. We have the VP of launch. His name is Kiko Dontchev. I think this will be absolutely fascinating. I have not seen SpaceX speak anywhere, at least in our county. So if that's something you would like to hear from, I encourage you to become part of our symposium. We also have Rob Long, the CEO of Space Florida, and John Wensveen, the president of the International Space University. Those are our keynote speakers, but we have 3 panels, and we are covering companies that were launched here in Brevard with our moderator, Dr. Nicolo from Florida Tech. We have companies that manufacture here on the Space Coast. As you may know, we are the largest per capita manufacturer in the state of Florida for our, what are we? Why is this not coming to me? It'll come to me. Anyway, just for our county, our county is the largest manufacturer per capita for the state of Florida. Man, too much going on. And then finally, we have the state of space. I mean, you can't be the Space Coast and not talk about space. So we have United Launch Alliance, US Airbus, Defense, RG Next, Boeing, Via Space. So I think it'll be absolutely fascinating. You have a flyer there in your packet. Also is the Brevard Prosperity Initiative. So we are not just looking at space and all these companies. We are looking at our community. And the Florida Chamber of Commerce mapped the entire state of Florida by zip code for the 10 root causes of childhood poverty. Our chamber started with this about 4 years ago with the annual live stream, and then in 2023, we started the Brevard Prosperity Initiative. You have that flyer in your packet, and it has the stats, and you can see where we are headed. This was a concern for us because the zip code 32905 is sadly a zip code of concern here in Palm Bay. And we brought together, we are the conduit to bring businesses together with nonprofits and community-minded individuals. We've had several success stories, and on August the 6th luncheon will provide an update on how that's been going, how businesses can get involved, and the community as a whole. Not only does the Chamber collaborate to bring partners to Brevard County Prosperity Initiative, but we also help drive economic growth. The power of partnership, so in your Everything Brevard magazine, I did flag that for you, is the article, How the Greater Palm Bay Chamber of Commerce Drives Community and Economic Growth. And this is going to be out for the whole year. And we also have an article, once again flagged, in the Space Coast Living magazine promoting our symposium. It's really just a few examples of the marketing that we do along with Brevard Business News, Spotlight Magazine, Saving Safari. We have billboards, social media. We're doing geofencing ads. Last year, we won the Membership Communications Marketing Materials Award for a chamber that's $500,000 to $1 million in budget for the entire state of Florida. Going further afield, we were the only chamber that participated in SpaceCom in Orlando, along with the Florida Simulation Summit and the International Space Development Conference. Companies have been reaching out to us from all over the country. We appreciate the relationships that we have with the Growth and Development Department as a city, at the city, so we can share leads and prospects that are wanting information about Palm Bay. We continue to advocate for our community. I attended the Brevard County Days in Tallahassee, talking about our concerns for our whole county. Also went up to Washington with the Economic Development Commission to advocate on behalf of having NASA's corporate office moving down here to Brevard County, and we spoke with the interim director of NASA, Janet Petro. and we met with several agencies to discuss Brevard County concerns. The Chamber's mission is to serve, advocate, and promote as a trusted voice for our business community, and I believe we will continue to succeed and thrive at doing that mission. Thank you.
Thank you. And Miss Nancy, I have seen the growth from the day you walked through those doors. And so it has been exponential. You've done an outstanding job. You've put space and industry and commercial at the forefront of the chamber. You've had businesses prosper. You've influenced businesses. You've influenced your staff. You've inspired them. You've inspired a whole community. And for that, ma'am, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate all you've done to generate prosperity in our community and increase our commercial base. And even moreover now, I can safely say to you, enjoy your retirement.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you
Does
very much.
council have any other comments? Councilman Johnson?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. And I share the same regards, Nancy. I appreciate you just more than you can even understand. Like, you're my Canadian aunt. You always have a smile on, no matter what storm you're going through. You and your team come together and work things out. My only question I have, I was taking notes as you were speaking. I see July 29th, the Brevard Prosperity Initiative's having a meeting. You also mentioned August 6th.
Yeah, so August 6th is the update at the luncheon. That's where it gets out to more of the business community. So the one that's in July, we have monthly meetings on that. Usually it's the second Friday of the month. It's open to anybody to come. It's at Wings of Grace Church.
Okay.
And then they have a planning session. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Second
there's lots of
Friday,
ways to get involved.
Wings of Grace.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
Any other?
I also want to
Councilman
echo a
Homer?
thank you. You've been absolutely amazing. I thought I did a lot of events, and every single one I go to, either you're there or your presence is there. I want to thank you and your whole team for everything you've done, and not just here, but everywhere that you go. Especially when you leave Palm Bay, you're always bringing Palm Bay with you. Thank you.
That's true. Thank you.
Councilman Landon? Any comments? Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate you.
Thank
God
you very
bless you.
much. Thank you.
So now I'm going to defer. This is presentation number 2. Mr. Morton.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, City Council. We have Gabriel Bowden, our Utilities Director, here tonight. We still have a lot of work to do on the Turkey Creek sewer main break over on Claremont. We still have a lot of communication with the community, the HOAs, the residents in and around the area. But we do have a lot of information now this many few weeks on. And so we did want to come back to council and to the community and kind of present where we are at this point, what our follow-ups will be, what we know, and share some of the final data and cost estimates that we have. So thank you, Gabriel.
Great. Thank you so much for the opportunity. There's a lot to cover. I'll try to be as brief as I can and respectful of your time. So our agenda, there's a few things I want to cover tonight. The incident overview, our response, the spill volume, as Mr. Matt had mentioned, water quality results, restoration efforts, communication and outreach that we've done, and some follow-up actions and some things that we're looking at doing in the future, and then also do a few key staff acknowledgements. So first, Sunday night, June 8th, about 9 p.m., a forced main break was reported at 1050 Claremont. Utility staff arrived about 10 p.m., started calling staff in, and by 10:30 we were beginning the recovery of spilled sewer at that point and assessing the situation to begin making repairs. I do want to note that through this whole event, one of the things that we did early on Monday morning was stand up the EOC. We've got some people that were involved in that, and I'll talk about that later, but I just want to point that out. On Monday morning, we stood up the EOC to kind of help with this entire emergency. So again, the crews were there about 11 o'clock. They started digging to get down to the main to see what was going on. We really thought we were going to be able to repair this on our own, slap a clamp or two on and move on. About 4 a.m., the crew got down to the main, and it's at that point they noticed that on this 20-inch main there was a break at the bottom of the main that ran the entire length of the 20-foot stick of 20-inch main. large enough that you could put your fist through it. So at that point, they knew we needed to call in some contractors, and so we did that at 5:30 in the morning. We got Cathcart was on site and beginning to assess the situation and mobilize their folks. And by 9 p.m. that night, the bypass was activated, and flows from this area were returning back to the plant. It's a lot of time, a lot more time than we would have liked to have seen pass. Line stops are not readily available. We found some in South Florida. They were on their way up. 95, as it does from time to time, had an accident, and they sat on the highway for quite some time. So we moved as quickly as we could to repair, and here's a picture of that repair as it was finally put in that night. So the spill amounts. Approximate spill amounts is 2.41 million gallons. We recovered approximately 1.25 million gallons. Staff of the city recovered about 50,000 gallons, and then Cathcart and all of their subs recovered another 1.2 million gallons. So released into the environment was about 1.16 million gallons. Now we further alleviated the impacts to the environment by deploying turbidity barriers. We deployed 3 turbidity barriers. We also removed soil from the storm ponds that were nearby. We removed 702 cubic yards. And then we also were skimming solids from the creek. About 56,000 gallons of Turkey Creek water was removed with a lot of solids at that time. So let's talk about water quality. We had a sampling plan, some locations we'll share with, and then what those results are. So we were sampling for fecal bacteria. We had 6 sample locations that we sampled from, and we determined those in coordination with the Department of Health. I also want to talk that this entire time we were in close coordination with other agencies. We were in coordination with not only the Department of Health, but also FDEP, Florida State Watch, and then also developed some new friends with the Marine Research Council. So we had 6 sample locations. The area of the spill is in this area here. So we sampled at the spill, before the spill, and then 4 additional areas after the spill. Sample results indicate, very high fecal counts. The background were also higher than you'd like to see. Here's a graft form for that. So a few days after the break, we saw some improvements in the fecal counts. The spikes that you see going up there are after a rain event, and generally rain events will flush a lot of debris and other matter that's on the roads into it, so that's why we see those spikes there. On the far right, you see the background results here. In addition to the samples that we take, and we're done sampling now, the Marine Council, they sample all the time. And this is a result of one of the areas that they sample year-round. The red line is where our break occurred, and you can see an increase in the, and I'm going to butcher this, I apologize, the Enterococcus bacteria. That's what they sample for on a bi-monthly basis. So you can see going back for the last year, there were a lot of times that were high. After the break, it was high. And then the next 3 samples after the break, after we did our remediation, we saw a tremendous decrease in that. If you want to see all of their sample results, the website is there on the bottom of this PowerPoint if you would like. So restoration efforts, again, we removed and replaced 12 inches of dirt from the ponds. We installed new grass in and around the ponds, 92 pallets. Reinstalled the barriers, a fence around it. We do have some additional work to do on resurfacing a road on Citrus Avenue. We had a lot of hydraulic fluid that was spilled on the asphalt there, and it will need to be removed as soon as, not as soon as we can, because it's not in bad shape. It just looks bad, but we don't want to delay too long. We'll prioritize that and get that done quickly. Here's some before and after, or during and after pictures. It's a very terrible event that took place. Where it took place was the best place for this event to take place. We had two storm ponds, one that you see right here, and then in the back corner, there's another. So a lot of the spill, we breached the wall, a lot of the spill was going in there, capturing a lot of solids, and then settling out and going into the environment from there. But we were able to capture a lot through there. Settling took place, so it really was the best location for this event to take place. Here's some during on the west side of the Clearmont Bridge during the break, and then after. You can see that the quality of water had greatly improved at this point. Here's another example, and just got a little close-up here that you can see some nice game fish in there still, so that was good. So we've done a lot of public communication through this as well. Initial alert on the 9th, on Monday, contacted the Florida State Watch, did a reverse 911. Public signages were placed out for the public. We also did a lot of press releases through the days. We did community outreaches, some door-to-door, and a presentation and Q&A for residents. And all of this was supported by website banners and a public hotline. So some follow-up actions. Cost of repair and restoration, that's what everybody wants to know. So that was $1,124,000 and some change. The road restoration will be somewhere around $75,000. We'll be working with contractors that we have on contract to get that done. We also, during our presentation to the community, there was an indication of the public wanting to be involved in how we do water quality improvement projects. One of the things that we noticed here is the aeration that we did added some great clarity to the water, and maybe there's some projects we can do with aeration. There was also a number of folks that were mentioning dredging of Turkey Creek. A lot of investigation will need to be done into that, the value that's in that and how feasible that is. We also talked about investigating the failed pipe. This pipe was installed in 1988. The life expectancy is 100 years, so it was only about a third of its life expectancy. We have about 1,000 feet of 20-inch main that in the same area that was installed that year. And again, we need to be looking at ways to use new technologies to do pipeline inspections. We also discussed increasing our inventory in the last year. I will tell you, we've been doing a lot of work to increase our inventory for lift stations, for emergency bypass, and we continue to do that. We also need to look and develop cooperative relationships so that we can have some of these larger items that people don't normally carry to be able to respond more quickly. And then also developing protocols for future events to ensure clear, timely, and inclusive communications. I want to acknowledge a few staff. We had a lot of people that were involved, people from Public Works, Procurement, Police, Fire, City Manager's Office, Utilities Department, Cathcart Services was stellar. If I begin to start to name people, I'll miss some, but I do think there are a few that we should highlight to you for the great work that they've done. And those are, if you're in the room, please stand. Tommy Marinelli, our Assistant Director. He oversees the distribution and collections team.
Yeah, excuse me.
Yes.
As you call out their names, I'd like for them to come up front.
Okay,
To be
very good, sir.
recognized.
Thank you, sir. So Tommy Marinelli has done a great job in developing a great culture with his team, a can-do attitude. Tommy's wife was in the middle of labor and had difficulties, but he was still wanting to be engaged and to help. And we had to tell him, please take care of your wife. But very dedicated and a huge blessing to have on the department. Derek Ackers, our wastewater collection superintendent, was out on site for the better part of 2 days. Very dedicated. We tried to get him to leave, but I knew he wasn't going to. I wouldn't either if I was in his situation. Very dedicated, really oversaw things very well, great attitude, made a call, made a decision early in that morning to reach out to a number of different contractors, reach Cathcart, engage them, really took the empowerment that we've given him and has just applied it, and very proud of him. Jake,
Bayside High School graduate,
That's-
that's
yes, yes.
2004.
That's right.
Lifetime Palm Bayer.
Yes,
Just
right.
wanted to-
Thank you, sir. Jacob Soto, who's not here tonight, but he's our water distribution superintendent. He was there by Jacob's side, Derek's side, the entire time, and just very helpful. We also had Deshawn Davis, our compliance division manager. She did a fabulous job helping reach out to and talk with the HOA that was near there, talking to the state, talking with a number of our partners, and making sure that the samples were taken, that we had those. Just did a fantastic job in helping us stay compliant through this whole time. Even though she did a fantastic job, we'll still get a fine. But that's not that's beyond her ability to make that happen. Again, we stood up the EOC on Monday morning, and Brandon McKee, if you'd come up, please. I was in Colorado, not here. I was at a conference, not on vacation, and I was dying the entire time because you want to be here during these events. That's where you belong. And Tommy's out on maternity leave. I'm not here. The other assistant director is in Colorado as well. And Brandon stepped in, did a fantastic job making sure that the communication took place between the field and city management. I cannot thank Brandon enough for all of the work that he did. Very positive attitude, very great to communicate with. Really a heart of gold, and trying to make sure that, he's not a water guy. He's a fire guy. But he handled the situation beautifully and did a fantastic job. And I'm sure he would tell you that without Alexandria's help, he would not have been able to do it as well as he did. And Alexandria, if you're here,
Yes, she's
she's
coming
here.
up.
She did a great job making sure that we're keeping all of our ducks in the line, and helping with a lot of paperwork and those types of things. So a fantastic job. And then finally, Justin Williams, the project manager with Cathcart, he did a very fantastic job with all the coordination. I think he was there almost as much as Derek.
Another Bayside High School graduate of 2004.
Oh yeah! Wow.
Just wanted to highlight
The golden
Palm
age.
Bayers. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So I want to thank these individuals for all of the hard work that they did, and really thank you very much.
Thank you. Any questions? I want to take this opportunity to say I witnessed this team. And you're right, it was Alexandra that coordinated those efforts as well. We had law enforcement, but Mr. Morton, your work, your tireless work, along with this team, and I went on site during this catastrophic event, and I have to tell you, I was so Palm Bay proud of each and every one of you. This was so catastrophic. You recognized how devastating this was for our precious resource of the Turkey Creek, and your tireless efforts, all those countless hours. We had to talk you to go to sleep, Derek. But I want to again just share that with council, the dedicated employees that we have that truly care about not only this community but our environment. So kudos to each and every one of you. Thank you for your hard work. God bless you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Morton, is there another presentation I believe you have?
Yes, last presentation, we have a video Congressman Mike Karadopoulos took to the House floor, I believe it was yesterday, to recognize one of our own, and I'll let him tell the story.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from Florida, Mr. Herodopoulos, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I recognize our Chief of Police in Palm Bay, Florida, Chief Mario Aguelo. Mr. Aguelo has been serving for 25 years in our community, and throughout his career, the chief has exemplified amazing dedication, leadership, and deep commitment to public safety. In addition to his service, he founded the Palm Bay Blue Foundation, a nonprofit that supports well-being of his department's employees and their families. So on behalf of a grateful community, I want to thank the chief for his outstanding service and the commitment to the people of Palm Bay.
Congratulations, Chief. It's my interpretation of that that will be on the congressional record and part of the history of this great nation for years to come. Congratulations. That was an extreme honor by our United States Congressman. Outstanding job. So we are now on public comments. Deputy Mayor? Council, I want to address something that was said, and I know a lot was said, but when it comes to considering the public comment portion of having it broadcasted, as most of you know, I didn't agree with that, but something was said that any one of us could bring it up. What I want to clarify is, according to our council policies, the reconsideration, and this is 7.9.14, it's motion to reconsider. The reconsideration of issues previously acted upon is discouraged. If a council member desires to have an issue reconsidered that has been acted upon at a meeting within the past year, the council member must first approach council with a request to reconsider the item. A majority vote of the city council is required to schedule the item for subsequent meeting for reconsideration. So in other words, this motion that has been brought up time and time again in our public comments has been brought up, and the only way it's going to change is if a majority of the council decides to reconsider that. I voted against that policy. So I'm bringing up, if council would want to bring this up for reconsideration, knowing that this motion passed 3-2 in the past, and I'm asking council, is there a majority that would request to bring this back for reconsideration? Kenny Johnson has weighed in.
Yes, Mayor. I'll adhere to the request. And the way it plays out, I remember this happened a few years ago with Councilman Bailey. We went with majority weighed in regards to reconsideration. The reconsideration came before council, and then it was shot down after more information was brought forward. So I'll say it flat out here right now. I'm in support of this. I'm in support of bringing back the cameras back on. I've heard what I needed to hear through, she's not here, Pastor Ken Delgado's wife, because I was praying up here while everybody was talking, and I heard what I needed to hear. So I'm good with moving forward, and just set the record straight, I'll be approving it, or I'll be voting in support in the future. So that's all, Mayor.
Well, thank you. Then I would need I've got another council member that's weighing in. Councilman Hammer.
I would also be in support of bringing it back. I was before, and I would actually like to see some things to make a little better. And yeah, I'm behind that.
Okay, so gentlemen, I would need a motion according to our policy.
So moved.
Second.
Second. I've got a motion by Councilman Johnson, seconded by Mayor Medina. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed signify by saying nay.
Nay.
Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Jaffe,
Nay.
Councilman Johnson,
Aye.
Councilman Hammer,
Aye.
Councilman Langevin,
Nay.
Mayor Medina.
Aye. So we've got a motion to reconsider, and I'm sure this will come back on our agenda. Right now, we are under consent. Council members, do you wish to pull any of the four items?
I'd like to make a motion to pull consent item number 1.
Second.
Got a motion, well, what about 2, 3, and 4? So is it to move 2, 3, and 4? I need a motion for consent. We're pulling item number 1, right? I need a motion for the other items.
I'll make a motion to pass the rest of the consent agenda.
A second.
I got a motion by Councilman Langevin, seconded by Deputy Mayor Jaffe. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Ms. Smith, anything you'd like to share? No? Okay.
No.
Okay. We're now on item number 1 on the public hearings. Madam Smith.
Ordinance 2025-22, an ordinance of the City of Palm Bay, Brevard County, Florida, amending the Code of Ordinances, Title 5, Legislative, Chapter 52, Boards, Subchapter, General Liability Risk Management Program, by increasing the settlement authority of the Risk Management Committee, providing for the repeal of ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for inclusion in the City of Palm Bay Code of Ordinances, providing for a severability clause, providing for an effective date.
Thank you, Madam Smith. I'm going to open up the public hearing, and ma'am, you present the case.
This is the final reading of the ordinance that increases the settlement authority of the Risk Management Committee, and also by the same amounts increases the authority for the risk manager, the city attorney, and the city manager, and also provides a new mechanism for the city manager upon consultation with the city attorney to be able to litigate cases involving nuisance violations.
Thank you, Madam Smith. And I have to commend Councilman Langevin for working hard with staff on this one. Thank you for having the foresight and understanding the economic increase that we've had over the years. So thanks for bringing that up, Councilman Langevin, an outstanding job.
Thank you, Mayor.
At this time, I'm going to open up to the public. Anyone wish to speak for or against this item? Please by show of hands. Seeing none, I'm closing the public hearing, asking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to pass it.
A second.
Got a motion by Councilman Langevin, seconded by Deputy Mayor Jaffe. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously, a 4-0. We are now on item number 3. Madam Smith, under public hearings.
Ordinance 2025-24, an ordinance of the City of Palm Bay, Brevard County, Florida, amending the Code of Ordinances, Title 17, Land Development Code, Chapter 172, Development Review Procedures, Subchapters, Part 2, General Procedures, and Part 6, Subdivision Application and Approval Process, by including provisions for administrative approval of preliminary and final plats pursuant to Florida statutes, providing for the repeal of ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for inclusion in the City of Palm Bay Code of Ordinances, providing for a severability clause, providing for an effective date. And Mayor, I do want to note some modifications as far as this ordinance. The whereas clause modified to match the resolution that we previously passed. Specifically would provide, whereas the Florida legislature passed SB 784 during the 2025 legislative session, and whereas on June 20th, 2025, Governor Ron DeSantis signed SB 784, which became Chapter 2025 164 Laws of Florida. And whereas Chapter 2024-164 Laws of Florida amends Section 177.071 Florida statutes to require plats or replats to be administratively approved, local governments to designate an administrative authority to receive, review, and process plat or replat submittals, and provide timeframe for decisions on plat or replat submittals, and Section 172.052, subsection C, and Sections 172.053, subsection D, should both state 7 days. Thank you.
7 days.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions, council? Okay, seeing none, anyone in the audience wish to speak for or against this item? I saw Master Chief. Did you raise your hand too, Doc? Come on up, Master Chief.
Bill Batten, 586 Ocean Spray Street, Southwest. I understand why you had to make this change. There's no doubt it came from the government above. We follow the rules of our governing bodies. That's how life is in a free society. But that does bring a couple of questions. Under consent agenda number 1, which was a code of ordinance change, you brought it into public hearing. So it would have been presented to the public hearing, yet code of ordinance on number 1 didn't even get the chance for the public to address it. That's the first item, because it was procedural muddied waters. But that leads us to what this is going to actually bring into effect of preliminary and final plat modifications, where the public won't be aware of what's happening in this instance. And why is that important that the public won't know? On the agenda tonight, we're not going to discuss them because the developer pulled them. There was a 353-acre plat modification that does affect the residents of Palm Bay. Guess what? They aren't going to know it with these modifications. So my request is to you, find some mechanism by which you can keep the citizens informed of what's happening to it. I just pulled out just the one change. That's 350 acres. It's a big one along Miko Road that's going to affect the other developments, other city down the street. People aren't going to be aware of it because of this simple modification. You as my leaders or representatives of a city, see if you can find some mechanism to keep citizens informed. You know me, I'll be bending over backward, going to staff and saying, I want to see every report now that comes through. I want to get a copy of every building plot that comes through because that's the type of person I am. And only so I could then readdress it in public so that somehow letting the public know. That's why I do this. Not to be mean to you guys, but it's somehow we have to keep the citizens aware of what's happening in their city. Like I say, with the passing of this one, the developer for 353 acres won't even have to come and face the public again. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak for or against this item? Councilman Langevin.
Yeah, I just want to clarify, if it was a plat amendment, that's not a final plat then, so we would still see that, correct?
No. What was continue are the development plans. The development plans you continue to see, and of course the plats are going to be built upon the standards that you all set in the development plans. The development plans you continue to see, and those are just continued to the next meeting. I believe it's the next meeting, but another council meeting.
Does that answer your question, Councilman Langevin? Okay. Anyone else in the audience wish to speak for or against this item? Seeing none, I'm closing the public hearing and asking for a motion.
So moved.
I'll second.
I got a motion by Deputy Mayor Jaffe, seconded by Councilman Langevin. Any comments, gentlemen? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Signify by saying nay. We are now on item number 5. We switched agenda revisions, so we're now on item number 5, preceding item number 4 on public hearings. Madam Smith.
Ordinance 2025-26, an ordinance of the City of Palm Bay, Brevard County, Florida, amending the Code of Ordinances, Title 5, Legislative, Chapter 51, Public Hearings, and Chapter 59, Quasi-Judicial Proceedings, by removing provisions related to the preliminary and final plats pursuant to Florida statutes, providing for the repeal of ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for inclusion in City of Palm Bay Code of Ordinances, providing for a severability clause, providing for an effective date.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm going to open up the public hearing, and Mr. Morton.
I don't have anything on this item. It's a companion to the one you just read.
Thank you. Council, any questions? Okay. Anyone in the audience wish to speak for or against this item? I've got Master Chief and then Ruth Kuffel.
Bill Batten, 586 Ocean Spray Street, Southwest. This relates specifically to what we just talked about. So no need to repeat myself with it. But if it would be at all possible, under your brainstorming mechanisms that you have up there, if anybody could even propose some kind of ideal mechanism where we could somehow inform the public. Otherwise, we've lost it, right? In other words, how are you going to do it to keep us informed? Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Kuffel.
Ruth Koffel, 935 Douglas Street Southeast. I'm affected by this. Courtesy mail outs. We were going to increase that to 750 feet anyway. So what's going to happen there? What is going to happen when somebody wants to encroach upon someone else's property? All these cars coming through my neighborhood in the future, all this crap coming in from this proposed HOA. The HOA that they proposed, are they going to give disclosure to the proposed residents there that all they have to take care of their own roads, they have to take care of the lift station, they even have to take care of the lift station with CenterPoint adding to that. If I was a proposed homeowner, I wouldn't buy in there. I would not buy in there at all. I wouldn't pay the fee. I wouldn't pay the homeowner's fee at all. That is unjust and affects the neighborhood. Affects my neighborhood that has seen no complaints until these things happened from CenterPoint Church. You didn't hear from us. Been there a long time. Been there 12 years. Until you want to send 76 more cars through our neighborhood and impose all of these things on the neighbors. Neighborly than that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak for or against this item? Yes, sir.
I just want to kind of touch
Well,
base, just basically what I've been hearing on the last.
On the mic.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just based on touching what I've heard from the last two. I am a realtor here in Palm Bay, Florida. And I have had two people that have called me because all of a sudden something popped up in their yard behind them. And they said, we got to get out of here. Why? Because they didn't know what was going on. And then all of a sudden the bulldozers and the cranes and the stuff show up and the trees get cut down. And it causes them a lot of stress. So based on what I was hearing from them two, and well, not so much the HOA, but I mean the HOA, it is what it is. But as far as people not knowing what's going on and the developments coming around, it does need to be a little bit more said. I'm a realtor and there's a lot of things I don't know until somebody decides to tell me. So I just want to kind of just bring that to the forefront. We got to find another way to do it. I think social media would be a great way to do it. So okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councilman or Deputy Mayor Jaffe? Oh, no, as you were, Councilman Johnson.
I just want to make just a comment real quick to the gentleman. Sir, your TikToks are fantastic. Your TikToks are fantastic. I've seen your social media. Now that you said that, you're very funny, and I enjoy watching this.
Thank you, Councilman Johnson.
Yes, Mayor. Just to the gentleman's point and what was mentioned earlier is education. I'll rather have Mr. Morton speak more on it, but a lot of these projects were approved sometimes 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, and they're just now coming into fruition. But if Mr. Morton wants to speak on, because it was made mention about the 750 feet and the plats, I think those were two different conversations, I believe. But I don't want to speak ill, so somebody.
It's been a while since I've sat in the planner chair, so at least if I get in trouble, you can jump up. But so plats do continue to go through the full public process. Replats in general are not adding density. They're not adding additional dwelling units. They're modifying existing lot lines. They're changing easements. So it wouldn't create a new development out of a replat. I think there might be an obscure situation that if someone has a piece of land where the lot size already conforms to the underlying yield zoning and they don't require a plat, so it's a hypothetical, but let's say someone had a 5-acre piece or a 1-acre piece that they're separating into a 1-acre standard platted lot that would have been allowed by a boundary line adjustment in Brevard County. They could go ahead and do that plat or replat without coming, but most of the developments that are, what is our plat threshold? Is it 5? How many lots is our plat? 5 lots is
3.
3 lot standard. So anybody doing a real type of subdivision is still going to go through the full public process, still going to do the notice requirement, whatever the code currently requires. I think it's currently 5, and the LDC change is asking for 750. Is that still where we're at? Again, I'm not in the
I'm
planning.
sure I understand.
chair.
So let me, if I may,
yes.
sir, I'm sorry. So Florida Statute 177 sets the standards for subdivision of land. So anything beyond 2, you have to get a subdivision plat, okay? And the plat is a standard of dimensions and lengths and setting your monuments, and it's your legal by which the subdivision of land is built. So the review of those, that what has to be in a plat is set by Florida statute. And it is what a licensed and insured surveyor puts his stamp on. So that standard doesn't change, and our land development code
The
follows
process
along
doesn't
that standard.
change.
Right, so the process is changed by the legislation saying it no longer comes before you all for approval, it'll just go to the surveyor. But I want to alleviate some of the concerns of the constituents, if you would allow me to.
Yes, ma'am, carry on.
Okay, so for instance, the project that is, well, under consideration to be continued, that is for, as Ms. Smith pointed out, for a preliminary development plan and a final development plan. Again, a PUD, a subdivision of land, you would not look at the plat for that, but you will have that opportunity to approve the preliminary development plan and then the final development plan. And as an exhibit to the final development plan, there will be a plat. So you will see it, but it would mirror the final development plan. Now, there are going to be instances where, I think as Mr. Morton was trying to define, where a certain piece of property has, 20 acres and the underlying is residential and they can do a straight subdivision. Under those circumstances, you will not see that subdivision, but then it is all administratively approved. Most site plans, commercial site plans, those are administratively approved anyway. So that's the difference. What I have told, I can't recall his name.
Ma'am,
This
right
gentleman over here.
It's okay.
That's okay. At one point was that keep yourselves aware of what's coming before planning and zoning, because that is your rezoning, that is your land use change. That's when you will get notification of projects.
At 750 is what
the distance.
Oh, the 750. So that has not been changed yet. That was part of the phase 2 changes, so it is still 500, and that has not changed.
And that's what I was referencing. We haven't finished the phase 2 LDC.
Correct.
And then in terms of addressing the notice, public notice, is there something we can do? We've been wrestling with that, looking at it. Part of the challenge is we have 10 days from application to approve the new plat process. It's very 7 days now.
Well,
Very
it's only, I'm sorry, sir, it's only 7 days
Because you just
to
said.
make sure that the application is complete. It is not approving the application. It is just making sure the application
I'm talking
is
about the
complete.
final plats. There's a statutory
Same thing.
timeline to.
The application,
Right.
not to approve the project.
So
I just wanted to clarify that.
with that timeline, we don't know if we can mail. If we have enough time to mail. If we have enough time to. So that's something we're looking at. Maybe a web posting of current development projects, but that's something we're looking at in a broader scope. I don't have an answer yet for that.
Any other questions, council? Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the audience wish to speak for or against this item? Step right up, sir.
Excuse me, Butch Oran, 219 Trenton Avenue. The lady who was just up here, I didn't catch her name. She tried to explain this to me last meeting. I still don't know where a citizen has to be informed when a major development, 350 houses, is going to go in at the end of Malabar Road. Where do I have to be to hear that? Is it the Planning and Zoning Board? Where?
Mr.
Where-
Aaron, the beginning process
Yes, where?
is not changing whatsoever.
Okay,
This
so
is the final tail end rubber stamp
Right,
that
I
the project's
understand.
built and be done.
it's already been approved.
So
But
it's,
where would I have to be to know when a
so if you
new
live within the
development-
area of the proposed subdivision, if you're within 500 feet, you will get a mailer. If you're not aware of it, then you would have to pay attention to planning and zoning meetings and council meetings.
Okay, planning and zoning. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak for or against this item? Seeing none, I'm closing the public hearing, asking for a motion.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion by Deputy Mayor Jaffe, seconded by Councilman Johnson. Any further discussion, gentlemen? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously, 5-0. We're now on item number 4. Ms. Smith. On the
Or-
public, yeah.
Ordinance 2025-25. An ordinance of the City of Palm Bay, Brevard County, Florida, amending the fiscal year 2025 budget by appropriating and allocating funds as outlined in attached Exhibit A, consisting of 3 pages, and incorporate in its entirety herein. Recognizing that such appropriations must be made pursuant to the Code of Ordinances of the City of Palm Bay, Chapter 35, Finance. Adopting, ratifying, confirming, and validating the allocations, providing for an effective date.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm going to open up the public hearing, and Mr. Morton.
Okay, we moved it around. 1 second, please.
2025.
Okay, I'm on the correct one. So these are still we're still trying to phase out the quarterly budget amendment process, but of course we still have them for this ongoing budget cycle. We have directed finance to complete mid-year budget project reviews, and that was completed by the finance department. That's actually going back a little bit. The city manager's office in each respective department of all citywide active and funded budget projects did a review, and upon that detailed review of each project with the managing departments, budget and in the budget process you'll see going forward, there was a decision made to close or unfund any projects that either were completed, have no current activity or activity within the preceding fiscal year, have no plan to begin spending within the current or following fiscal year, and are no longer being pursued for various reasons. And so we're trying to true up the books in essence and show projects that are being closed, moved, discontinued, or incorporated into other projects. The list is long. If you've got technical questions, we do have Angelica Collins here from Finance to explain those tonight.
Thank you. Any questions, council? I don't see any. So I'm going to go right to the public. Anyone wish to speak for or against this item? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
So moved.
Got a
Sec-
mo-
Second.
Got a motion by Deputy Mayor Jaffe, seconded by Councilman Johnson. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Passes unanimously. We are now on consent item number 1. Oh, as you were.
May I clarify something really quick? Just because I want to be clear on the record, and I wanted to confirm with Patricia, we don't have additional time in the statute. We have to approve or cite the reason it's incomplete within the 7 days. They're coterminous, so the time frame is extraordinarily compressed, and that's been part of the challenge in our discussion. So I don't want to mislead that there's additional time. In theory, we have to approve those within 7 days. I just wanted to be clear on that. We don't have a 7-day completeness period.
Right, if they're complete, we
There
approve,
you go.
we provide the notice. We can't request any extensions. We can't require them to request any extensions. That's all in there. The only extensions that could be is if they request it. Otherwise, we need to let them know whether it's complete, anything that they're missing, or we need to approve, deny, or approve with conditions. It is very compressed.
So that's the only point I was trying to make. We're trying to figure out how to communicate and do it timely, and it may be a post communication with the time frame to your point, sir. I just don't know, but I'd love to chat with you if you have ideas. And so thank you for letting me bring that issue up again. Just wanted to be clear on that.
Yes, sir. Understood. That's where we don't have much of home rule on that particular item. So we're now on consent. Item number 1. Before we go there, Ms. Smith, you want to read the caption?
Yes, sir. Ordinance 2025-27, an ordinance of the City of Palm Bay, Brevard County, Florida, amending the Code of Ordinances, Title 3, Administration, Chapter 34, Human Resources, Subchapter, General Provisions, by enacting post-employment restrictions and standards of conduct for former municipal employees, providing for the repeal of ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for inclusion in the City of Palm Bay Code of Ordinances, providing for a severability clause, providing for an effective date.
Thank you. I'm going to defer to Deputy Mayor Jaffe.
Thank you, Mayor. Just for the record, I don't consider myself a tyrant. I serve on a board of 5, and I'm one voice and one vote of 5 people. Since serving on council, I've witnessed some things that I feel like aren't good business practices, and asked the city attorney to draft language for council discussion. Specifically, historically, there was a utilities director that now works for a consultant performing our wastewater treatment facility. And my fear is these director positions, they're in charge of managing budgets. They know our procurement procedures, and they're able to go to private enterprise and exploit the city, costing us time and money. So I'm bringing forth this motion. I make a motion to pass ordinance 2025-27.
Since it's
I gotta
already
open up-
pulled,
yeah, I gotta open up for discussion. I
yeah,
pull
I
I
like
pull my
it.
motion.
Yeah, so the very first thing is, and I've got some speakers, but as you know, and I've mentioned this before, Deputy Mayor, thank you for highlighting this, but my concerns are unintended consequences, right? That is huge, and that's a concern for me. So in that capacity, maybe stressing a higher level of employee, as in director or above.
It's
assistant
written as
county
only
manager?
level 1 directors,
Okay.
city
Just
managers.
directors?
Yeah.
No, I don't think it is.
It's been revised, sir.
Oh, okay.
If I may.
Yes, go
Yes,
ahead,
ma'am.
Patricia.
Carry on, because I didn't.
Yes.
Okay. Last I saw it, it didn't.
No,
I'll
we
put
have
it that way.
discussed it, and I did needed to announce what the changes, which is why he pulled it from consent, so that that revision could be made. And
Okay.
that's on me for not announcing it at the time I read it.
Well,
and let me do so.
Yes, ma'am.
It'd be
Please do.
3416 subsection A, the provision related to contracting. That would apply the former city employees, specifically the employees that it would apply to would be the city manager, deputy city manager, city attorney, deputy city attorneys, city clerk, deputy city clerk, city engineer, and department heads. Those would be the group that would be prohibited for the 2 years.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Hammond.
I'm glad you clarified that because that was something that was important to me. Here at the City of Palm Bay, we do have a lot of blue-collar workers that are working multiple jobs. Just to use an example, we buy parts in our fleet department from O'Reilly's. That means we can't have a guy go and work for O'Reilly's when he gets off work. So I do want to make sure that we're discussing something that is actually going to matter. And I would also like to have a waiver process. If something is there and there is something that is not going to affect it, say he was the director of Parks and Recreation, and now he's digging the ditches for somebody. Now they can't put in for something. So I would really like to see a waiver process be put in there. Because with Palm Bay, one of my goals was Palm Bay being self-sustaining. We are one of the largest employers in Palm Bay. So that means everybody that's there can't work somewhere else for X amount of years. I would love to see every one of our contractors be Palm Bay businesses, but I mean, I can only hope for that. But I do think there should be some kind of a waiver in case something like this does happen. And you have a group of people that can assess it and make sure there's no effects or anything that's going to touch that. But I am completely in favor of this.
Paragraph G has a
Yes.
waiver process.
Thank you. Please let me let me pass this on. Everyone on the dais, if you don't mind. Councilman Johnson.
Thank you,
The
Mayor.
city attorney's got some words.
Well, this question might be for her, or for Deputy Mayor Jaffe. Does the same apply for City Council?
That policy already exists.
I remember, and I don't want to point the finger at any previous City Council members, but I know Bill Batten will remember when it came to a waste management contract of somebody on the, yep. So, yeah, so that's that. So, but it happened. So that was my only concern. But I'm good.
To your argument, that policy already exists, and I think it might have been caused by your example. I'm not sure, but I haven't checked. But all right, Madam Attorney.
Yes, actually, I buzzed in for the same thing Deputy Mayor was saying. Currently, in subsection G, it states that the City Council may grant a waiver to this restriction by majority vote during a publicly noticed meeting. Waiver requests must be submitted in writing and must include the former employee's role while at the city, their proposed or current role with the vendor, and justification for the waiver demonstrating that is in the best interest of the city. So the ordinance currently does have a waiver process in which council would make that decision, and there would be enough information so that both council and the public would know why or why not we think that this is or isn't in the best interest of the city.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilman Langevin.
And thank you, Mayor. I'm a huge fan of this ordinance. I believe, though, if we're going to have a waiver process, it should be waived by a supermajority, not by a simple majority.
Okay, thank you, sir. We don't have any speaker cards, so Deputy Mayor, now I could entertain a motion.
I make a motion to pass ordinance 2025-27 as produced.
I've got a motion.
Second.
I got a motion by Deputy Mayor Jaffe, seconded by Councilman Johnson. Any further discussion, gentlemen? Seeing none, I'm calling the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. We are now on procurements item number 1, Mr. Morton.
Thank you again, Honorable Mayor, City Council. It's been coming up on the maximum 5-year term pursuant to the procurement guidelines, and the health insurance contracts and agreements will expire December 31st, 2025. Garing Group is the city's broker of record for health insurance and the related plans. And at the city's request, the group conducted a competitive bidding process and obtained quotes for the benefits. What you have before you is the proposed new staff recommendations from those bids that will affect the city's medical insurance, our dental plans, and our COBRA administration. We had staff go ahead and add all the relevant data so people could see it in terms of what the city pays, what the employee's cost share is to the benefits, what our annual rate increases will be, and when there are caps on those, which is fantastic. Some of those are capped for a period of time, but what we can expect for annual premium or rate increases. And we are asking council to go ahead and award the approval of the medical insurance agreement contract to Cigna, of dental insurance to Cigna, and of our FSA COBRA administration to the P&A group.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Hammond?
And no, before we discuss, has our city still got the Way Committee? And did Way Committee give one of these or one of these?
Can you publicly answer those questions, please?
Come on up, please.
Hi, good evening. To answer your question, no, it did not go before the Way Committee. We don't present this to the Way Committee in recent years.
That's it. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Are there any other questions, gentlemen? Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks. Deputy Mayor, any speaker cards on this item number 1 on the procurements?
No, Mayor.
I need a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Got a motion by Deputy Mayor Jaffe, seconded by Councilman Johnson. Any further discussion, gentlemen? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes. Any opposed? Passes unanimously. We're now on unfinished business. Item number 1, Deputy Mayor.
So appointment of 2 members to the Community Development Advisory Board. I'll make the motion to appoint Matthew Osterlog to the banking industry position on the Community Development Advisory Board.
Second.
I got a motion by Deputy Mayor Jaffe, seconded by Councilman Johnson. Any further discussion, gentlemen? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously.
For the second seat, I make a motion to appoint Maisha Carr to the resident of the city position on the Community Development Advisory Board.
Second.
I got a motion by Deputy Mayor Jaffe, seconded by Councilman Johnson. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Item number 3, unfinished, or item number 2, unfinished business. Mr. Morton.
Thank you. Again, we're bringing back the furniture item for Building E, the miscellaneous cooperative purchase, furnitures, fixtures, and equipment, or FFE, for Building Florida, or for Building A, excuse me, which is through the state of Florida and Omnia Partners contract. There was a question last time in the reconciliation of the numbers. The number you have before you tonight is the actual number of $488,847. If you notice the delta on the final invoice of $457,832.95. That $31,000, 14 cents and change was an item for the second floor training room that was already purchased using ARPA funds, but we did count it in the reconciliation. You also notice with the piggyback contract and the timing, there was a 2.2% increase, which was a net result of $10,072.30. And you can also see the assignments of the line items of which budgets paid for furniture. And that's all I have. We do have Juliet here tonight if you have any further questions or would like some answers.
Outstanding. And I don't see council has any questions.
I just have a comment, Mayor. I like the way this was presented the second go around. I believe the figure is a lot less than what was originally presented before. The one thing that's challenging to accept for me is the price increase when the quote was received back in like April of earlier this year. And I know Mr. Morton wasn't on the staff then, but I just, implore staff, bring stuff to us timely so we can make decisions sooner.
Anyone else have any questions? Councilman Johnson?
Well,
I know you initially. Yes,
yeah. To your point, wow. Yeah, because then it puts us in the hot seat and it makes us look like we held them to it. So I hear you, Deputy Mayor Jaffe. That way we have more time to make a sound decision. So I'm in agreement with you. So if we can just make sure that this doesn't happen again, I trust in Mr. Morton to make sure that it doesn't, but that doesn't put us in, that backs us in the corner. And we've had that happen a few times before. So thank you for bringing that up, sir.
Well, I'll weigh in on that too, because I've noticed that he says, what's in the delta, right? I like that type of terminology. What's in the details, right? And I've seen even the agenda items probably a little more detailed. So I want to commend staff for that as well. So thank you, Mr. Morton. We have seen a difference with the agenda items and the summaries, and I appreciate that, especially when you say what's in the delta. Hoorah. So council, I need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve this furniture purchase.
Second.
I got a motion by Deputy Mayor Jaffe, seconded by Councilman Johnson. Any further discussion, gentlemen?
No, Mayor.
Seeing none.
I
all
just
in
have,
fa-
I just
Yes.
have one question, if I could.
Yes, sir, I didn't.
I'm sorry, I was about to hit it.
Carry on. Carry on.
If we do pull the trigger on it, and we obviously are how it looks, and they don't deliver on time, do we see a benefit on our end? Is there something in there that says they have a certain amount of time to deliver to us, or it's if
That's a
they
good
can punish us? I think we should be able to punish them for not delivering.
I'll ask Madam Moscone.
Thank you for the question. As far as we know, there is not a performance penalty. We don't usually see those in commodity contracts, but it's an excellent question. And we can certainly get clarification on that and bring it back to council.
Thank you.
I would just make the statement that, this is a piggyback contract, and for you to be vetted to be on a contract like that, you have to be a contractor or a vendor that performs. So I would just I think we're okay.
Copy that. I still have a motion by Deputy Mayor Jaffe, seconded by Councilman Johnson. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously. We're now on new business item number 1, Madam Smith.
Resolution 2025-26, a resolution of the City of Palm Bay, Brevard County, Florida, amending Resolution 2024-35, as amended by Resolutions 2025-10 and 2025-20, adopting the 5-year capital improvement program for the fiscal years 2024 through 2025 through 2028 through 2029 for the City of Palm Bay, Florida, rescinding resolutions or parts of resolutions in conflict herewith, providing for an effective date.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Morton?
Thank you. Similar to my explanation, another one, this was a detailed review of projects within departments and in an effort to improve efficiency and clarity of our budget moving forward. It was concluded to close or unfund any projects that were either completed, have no current activity or activity within the preceding fiscal year, have no plan to begin spending within the current or following fiscal year, and are no longer being pursued for following reasons, or were not actually capital improvement projects, like some minor repairs, replacements, or operational needs. And the primary citywide goal moving forward is to have a manageable and realistic active project workload based on staffing, based on funding capabilities, based on our objective reality year to year. And a project closure doesn't mean that it may not come back in a future year, or that it's no longer a necessity. Just having that much clutter on these lists is just not productive or easy for people to track. And if we have further questions, again, Angela Collins is here to help us.
I don't see any questions at this moment. Deputy Mayor, any speaker cards?
No speaker cards.
Okay, so I need a motion, gentlemen.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Councilman Johnson, seconded by Deputy Mayor Jaffe. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. We're now on item number 2. Mr. Morton.
Thank you. Tonight is consideration of allocation of funds from the Red Speed School Zone Camera Program for administrative costs. We're requesting $6,000 from revenues generated through the city's Red Speed School Zone Camera Program. That's in an effort to offset administrative costs associated with the program's operation and enforcement. To cut to the bottom of the line item, which is in here, we've obviously had a lot of challenges operationally with the inception of Red Speed. There's been loss of trust in the vendor, which I think has impacted the community's trust and perception in the program. This money would be used to fund an additional number of hearings through the administrative law judge or hearing official. It's outlined in Palm Bay Police Department General Order 505 about where the revenues may or may not be used, and it's not only safety improvements, but it's also for funding this. I did also include the total line item in that revenue account that's been generated by the Red Speed cameras. Total fiscal impact of the request is $6,000. In a larger context, in case the question arises, of course, we were having discussions, the chief and I and the department, about bringing Red Speed back to coincide with the beginning of the school year. When we see a lot of other school zone enforcement and safety announcements and programs. As of this day, we are not comfortable or confident that Red Speed has ameliorated our concerns, has solved their problems, or has fixed their response issues, their coordination issues, their technical issues. So it's something that we are working on ongoing. It has no day-to-day costs to the city other than the staff time trying to reconcile. But again, wanted to provide that informational update, but let you know that this is the request before you tonight.
Thank you. Any questions, council? No questions? Then any speaker cards, Deputy Mayor?
Lance Fisher.
Lance Fisher, former Deputy Chief of Police Department. Thank you, Mr. Morton, for highlighting the ineffectiveness of this program. As you remember from the history, I was actually sat on the beginning boards of this when this idea came to light. For full transparency, in those discussions, this was a money grab, a straight up money grab. There was zero discussion about children's safety. I know that was used to get this program up and running. I can provide the text messages from Greg Latulip, the commander that oversaw this program, to myself and Chief Agello, highlighting the amount of money the city was going to receive, or the PD was going to receive, versus what was going to go into the crossing guards funds. And I believe there was an LOL. Secondly, this is a failed program. We've seen this time and time again. I think we saw just recently a Fox News article. I try to do truth and facts, but I'll just go off of theirs today. A lady was written a citation for an excessive speed, and the only reason that she was able to get off from the violation because she happened to have a GPS. It was a business vehicle, and she had a GPS. From the report, it said that the red speed camera had added 2 vehicle speeds together. And my understanding from the report was she was one of the very few that day that received grace and was not given, or did not have to pay the fine. How many other people that did not have GPSs have been written these citations? $303,000 from the report that I wrote. That's 30,300 citizens that have been written citations. So my question would be this then: how many physical citations were written by Palm Bay police officers? If we see that this excessive speed in our school zones, how many physical citations were written? Because we can use the data to show what school zones that these violations are taking place. There has to be a liability on the city if we have documentation of speed zones that are threatening our children. Then why are we not using our physical police presence to stop and write those citations? So I understand that that there are limitations to our officers, and I do think, and I do agree with Chief Agello, we have a great police department. I agree that they're shorthanded. I've disagreed with the leadership, and this program, including myself, the failed leadership that brought this program without the transparency. This is a complete money grab. This is not about children. I can't think of any instance where a child was struck in a school zone that caused serious bodily injury or death. I can think of 2 instances in the Bayside public parking lot where a child was struck and killed, and a pedestrian that was walking through the fire lane was struck and killed. We have not done any extra enforcement in the public's parking lot, and we've had 2 fatalities that are documented. So for this program to even continue to us to spend, charge Red Speed the $6,000. Don't charge our citizens. That's 600 citizens that are paying for this. These administrative costs should not even be in question today. Today, the vote should be disband the program. Disband the program.
Thank you. Councilman Hammond?
I would like to I have a question. Is this 6,000 going towards how many people that we have that are fighting their tickets?
Yeah, I mean, Chief can come up, but in essence, yes, it's to fund additional hearings before the magistrate.
Good evening. So the $6,000 that's part of this item is for magistrate fees. And so in the contract, when the contract was negotiated and signed by all parties involved, to include those that were running operations and overseeing the project, it's in the language that we, as a city, as a PD, will be responsible for covering those costs for the magistrate. So that $6,000 is to go moving forward, because we have several hundreds of citizens that are contesting citations, right? So that's multiple hearings. We have them already lined up till December, and we still have more that we need to line up. So that's strictly what that's for. It's to cover the cost of the magistrate being here during that duration of the hearing.
Any other questions, Council?
I do.
Well, I've got it. Go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
Have we got an ability to freeze these until we can have a discussion about Red Speed? Because anybody who's done jury duty knows you have to be able to prove something beyond reasonable doubt. And anybody of those 300 people, they have reasonable doubt. Is how I feel about it. They could have been following the law, they could have been breaking it, but there's the idea out there that the system does not work, and I think that's what these 300 are there for, because they're seeing so many people have these issues, and they're just hoping theirs was one of the issues.
I think, and Chief, is there any credibility to these tickets? In other words, well, I know we're just talking about administrative fees, but now he opened up another line of questioning. From what I'm tracking, when a citation is issued, it has been warranted that they are going whatever 11 miles over that speed limit.
Correct. Aside from those, I forget, it was a couple of hundred, the Miami tickets, we'll call
The
them.
Miami tickets, yes.
And there was a few, I believe it was one of the off of Palmer Road in Glenham, that school zone area, when we first initiated, kicked it off before we, right before we shut it down the first time, because of a technical issue with the software from RedSpeed. The violations are legit, right? Now, just to reiterate, the $6,000 ask has nothing to do with the citations and paying the citations or not paying the citation. That's for us to have a magistrate sit there during the hearing to hear our citizens, our residents have their day in court, right? To say why or why not they should pay the citation or not, and then obviously it's up to the magistrate to dismiss it. So violations are recurring. So to say, some of the things that have been said, that the violations are all false, that's not accurate. However, with that, I will say that I've lost faith in the program, and until RedSpeed can come back and tell us, and we've been working very diligently with the city attorney's office, who Deputy City Attorney Messenger has been doing a great job and been very patient with this company, until they can come back and show good faith, which they haven't been able to, our recommendation moving forward is to move away from it. That's been our stance for a few months now. We're just waiting for legal, our city attorney's office, to be able to get a hold of the company and go that route. So,
Thank you. That being said, I'm going to weigh in on something. We still have a speeding problem. It is a huge speeding problem, not only within our schools, but I also want to be on the record as saying these are administrative citations. You don't have to get points on your license. This is to change your behavior. I've witnessed that. Speeding time and time again, and I've said it publicly. I've seen people pass school buses. Now we've got school buses that are going to have those cameras that you can see that. But the speeding problem in the city of Palm Bay, even today, does exist, and we don't have enough patrol officers to patrol our streets, gentlemen. And the object is to provide this administrative fee to change the behavior, and at the same time, in hopes that they do change their behavior and they don't get points assessed on their license. So I just wanted to clarify that. Councilman Johnson, you weighed in.
Thank you, Mayor. And I'm in agreement with Councilman Hammer, Chief, and you, Mayor. Because remember way back when we were talking about the piggyback, we were going back and forth. I was asking you questions, but I'm glad you came right now and said, "Yeah, I've lost faith."
Yeah, we always want to improve our public safety, right? And there's always newest and greatest innovations that are out there in technology and software that help towards that cause.
Yep.
And unfortunately, right now, as of now, our residents have lost faith in it. There's no trust in it. And right now, myself, and our police department. But we do have to go through a process, right? We have to go through a legal process with our legal counsel, and to ensure that everything's on the up and up before that decision, if it does, and if it does come, we can do it reasonably with all of our facts laid out and everything outlined as to why they didn't live up to their end of the bargain. They were vetted. They came endorsed by Florida Police Chiefs Association. So that's neither here nor there. So not everything works, and I'll be first to say that, this one right now is a problem, and we're better off not utilizing it at the moment. That's why, speaking with the city manager, I'd rather not turn them back on, even in part-time capacity, morning and afternoon, until everything is taken care of. And right now, we're not there yet.
Thank you, sir. And then following up, Mayor, with what you said, the easiest way to correct, one of the easiest ways to correct poor behavior is to hit the pockets. So I do agree in that sense. But my question, I guess, is for the city attorney. How long ago have you reached out to Red Speed, and how long has it been since they haven't responded?
Madam Attorney?
I don't have the exact time frame, but we provided correspondence to them. They responded. We and asked for additional information and made additional arguments. I do know Mr. Messenger has been working diligently with police being able to present our side as far as what the contract is, the different violations they have, and with the contract. So I don't have the exact dates and times right now. I do know we have been in contact with them, but I can certainly provide that to council once I'm able to circle back with Mr. Messenger. But I do know he's been actively working with police and Red Speed as far as trying to address some of these issues and the frustrations of the city and their breaching of our contract.
Okay. Thank you, Mel. And to that point, this might be for you, this might be for Mr. Morton, it might be for the mayor. Is there anything we can do as a council to speed this up? Because for me, I'm like, this is getting ridiculous that it's taking this long to address this. The chief's tired of it. The citizens are tired of it. Our council's tired of it. I think everybody's tired of it at this point. So this is something we all agree on. So let's move diligently on what we agree on to hold people accountable. So
Yeah, I want to just tap into that a little bit, and then I'm gonna tee it over to the city managers for his response, and then to Deputy Mayor. But I want to tag a little bit on that, because my concerns are still going to be, it's a customer service with Red Speed. That's ultimately what it is. And this program, as he said, was vetted, the Police Chiefs Association. So my question is more along the lines of, what would make you comfortable to reinstitute this, if at all possible, with this company? Or is there another company that has a higher level of service that you've been tracking?
Well, that's tough to say right now because we're in the middle of this one, and I don't want to go too far ahead of it. Right now, what we're looking at, our staff is looking at, is that, and just speaking with Deputy City Attorney Messenger this afternoon, is our residents have lost trust in this program. And so when they lose trust in this program that I brought forward, that's a problem for me. And so right now, I have no intention to bring it back, because I don't believe that they'll be able to
restore that trust.
Restore the trust, but resolve the issues that we've been dealing with.
Okay. Mr. Morton, did you want to respond to Councilman Johnson?
Yeah, just to weigh in and say, we've had long conversations, many conversations. We believe in using a euphemism. There's been 2 strikes. We can't afford a third. Public trust is a bigger issue than most things at this moment. We want to move forward with transparency. We want to have the public's trust and buy-in, of course. We're not seeing a path forward. I've spoken with an additional service provider just to try to get a baseline to understand. It appears at the moment a lot of the various systems are problematic. There's lots of technical issues and compliance issues and magistrate issues, and so we're not finding an alternative. For the moment, the important thing to note for everyone listening is the program is suspended. It's non-operational. It's also not costing us additional money to operate or run. Correct? I'm not misstating that. And so we're working through it diligently. And sometimes that is the sacrifice for speed, is making sure we're working through every angle and also having a plan B, if possible, to pick up where we leave off. Right? Building a structure to move forward, not just jumping to end something, but can we do a better iteration? Is there a better solution? What is the solution? And bring a total package back to council so you can consider it in full context. So I don't know if that answers or satisfies, but we are pursuing it. But also more importantly, trying to figure out how we protect the safety of our children in school zones. And so we don't want to lose sight of what the focus of the whole mission is in this instance.
Thank you. I appreciate your comments. I'm going to tee it over to Councilman or Deputy Mayor Jaffe.
Thank you, Mayor. So obviously this was something that was approved, by previous council, and I don't know what that thought process looked like in approving it. But I think it's a great learning experience for the city, albeit painful. But proof of concept, like, does it work somewhere else before we implement it within our city? And just to my colleagues on the dais, I think we just need to be a little more tactful. Some of our conversations could make our city attorney's job more difficult moving forward. So I think we just need to trust in staff and the city attorney's ability to navigate the next steps, and leave it at that.
Okay. So right now I'm gonna wait. I want to ring it back in. We're talking about the $6,000. We're not talking about the whole program. Those $6,000, and let me just mention this. According to our agenda item, I just want to give kudos to Lieutenant Kilmer, who delivered the comprehensive presentation to help educate Palm Bay residents, which remains accessible to all community members. So I know that she was tasked with that, and she went above and beyond to handle that. So I wanted to commend her for that. But right now we're talking about $6,000, and I've got a speaker card by Master Chief Batten.
Bill Batten, 586. Bill Batten, 586 Ocean Spray Street Southwest. I know the way we got to this point was a little bit different, and so I won't be too upset with that because I got a lot of good input by how we got here this time. But it does generate two questions. Right? The first one, what was the total cost of implementing this system? Because that is the pocketbook. I know supposedly the company was supposed to have been paying for it, for the installation. Were they doing all the labor force? Were they doing all the hardwiring? So what was the actual city cost that we had to put into this? Because that is our pocketbook. We want to hit the pocketbook. Well, that came out of my budget someplace, right? So what was that cost, and we'll be able to get it back? The next question was, just Bill Batten being the sneaky little devil he is, I'd say instead of spending the $6,000 in litigation, we could spend $6,000 on overtime to some of the police force that could sit there and be writing tickets. And I promise you, that cop car sitting there in the speeds in that zone, that slows people down almost quicker than that flashing camera light did. 6 months later, they get a ticket. Right? Just a little bit of overtime for the police department, and then we'd be getting some of that resource back to us, because every ticket, every dollar from the ticket does not come back to the city, just like most of this one wasn't coming back to the city also. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Morton, do you have those numbers, or should we call up the chief?
Yeah, you can come up, Chief, please, and explain if we have done any accounting.
So yes, for the implementation of the program, it cost the city $0. And the only thing after that was just man hours, just reviewing video in terms of validating the movement violations by our traffic enforcement.
Thank you. Any other speaker cards, Deputy Mayor?
No, Mayor.
Okay, I need a motion.
I'll make a motion to pass.
Got a motion by Councilman Langevin.
I'll second.
I got a second by Deputy Mayor Jaffe. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 4-0. We are now on item number 3. Mrs. Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. At the request of Deputy Mayor Jaffe, I created a policy for proclamations. And just a brief overview, we're limiting to 3 per meeting. They must be sponsored by a council member. There's no limit to those proclamations that are presented off-site or mailed, and proclamations must be submitted at least 6 weeks in advance of the date requested.
Okay, Deputy Mayor, you wanted to weigh in on this some more? Or?
Yeah, Mayor, just over the last several months, residents have mentioned that the non-business portion of the meeting has gone long. Some of the proclamations, recognitions, and on top of when we do presentations, that can eat up quite a bit of time. And I'm just bringing these suggestions for conversation. I'm not married to any of these ideas. It's just for conversation.
Well, here's the thing with that. I think this is a fairly good idea, but I can't agree with it, and I'll tell you why. A lot of the proclamations that we have done is for the public awareness, whether it's cancer, whether it's different groups. Today, for example, there were only two, which we were recognizing our staff, and the other one, the mayor's business spotlight. But there have been many others that we, like Holocaust, we've honored that association. We've honored several others that want to raise the awareness of whatever program they're bringing up. You may have the consensus. I think 3 may be a sweet spot, but what happens to the 4th one, right? So that's where I'm at with that. The idea of unlimited, and we present that out, that's what we currently do anyway. It's those that want to come before council that, and keep in mind, it's the residents that want to come before council. It's these organizations that want to come before council. So to limit them, I think the limit of 5 is what we currently have. Is that correct?
4.
It's 4.
It's 4. The limit of 4, I think, is probably where we're at right now. So I'm good with that. But I've got Councilman Hammer.
I don't see Daniel up there, but do we have any idea if First Friday is going to come back? Because that would be a great time to do presentations and stuff if we're doing First Friday again. I know it was supposed to come back. Whether it is or not, I'm not sure. Does anybody know?
Perhaps Juliet may be able to answer, or Mr. Dr. Robinson.
Council will have to get back to you with that. We'll meet with Daniel and get some insight on that and respond.
Okay, because I think, First Friday, everybody comes together and there's stages out there. There's an idea of items to be presented then, so.
Yeah, so as far as the First Fridays go, we are looking at a concert type series through the city. It may not occur as often, like once a month, but we will have them. But with most of our events, when we have the stage, if all we need to know is a time when you want to present a proclamation, we could add that to our stage time. So that's not a problem. We just have to coordinate it.
Thank you. Councilman Langston?
Yeah, thank you. I mean, that's a great idea by Councilman Hammer. I like that. Personally, I'm okay with having no proclamations during council meetings. I'm really just here to get to work, and the events where we have fun, we can make people feel good, and then limit it to 1 or 2 presentations, and then let's get to work.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else wish to weigh in? Councilman Johnson?
I'm with Councilman Landry.
Okay, so any speaker cards?
Pastor Mark Miller.
Mark Miller, 898 Nelson Avenue. Probably take an opposing view here. I think the proclamations, their certificates, recognition, man, I love it. I think it shows a lot of the great things that are happening in our city. It shows what's important to our city. The fact that you would take the time to write a recognition letter, that you would write a statement of proclamation or support it. So I think that is a win. Certainly understand the desire for a policy. I get that. I would not eliminate all the ones here. I mean, you probably don't get to see the smiles and the impact of the people. I remember the very first proclamation I received here. It was probably my first time or maybe second time inside a council chambers. And it was a huge ordeal to come before you guys. For those of us that come every day now, right, or every meeting, it may not carry the same significance. But when you looked at the faces, like those two kids that were up here today with the shack and all of that. Now, I agree it should be a limit. We don't need to spend an hour on proclamations during the city council meeting. But to select a few and to have them sponsored by you guys, and you guys decide which ones you want to bring up here. I think it's important. I also would like to see a list of those that are done outside of the city council meeting. It'd be great to see a list posted. I don't know if it's posted somewhere, it's public record, or maybe it's in the city council agenda, and it's just under there is a list of all the ones you guys did in the last 2 weeks, or the last month, or the last whatever. But I think it shows a lot of great support for what the faith is. Also, there's a phrase in there that I think needs clarification. It says, in order for it to qualify, it does not promote one religion over another. It's really vague and risky. As a nation who is built on the foundation of Jesus Christ and Christianity, what happens to our National Day of Prayer proclamation? Is that showing preference for Christianity, and so there's going to be no longer blessed is the nation whose God is Lord, and no speaking about it? Is that showing a preference over one religion over the other? So to me, it's really vague, and so I would look at maybe clarifying that if you do have to have a policy. I would spend some time there. It's vague and risky as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, that being said, I'm out of time. But I think they're a great thing.
Thank you. Any other speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
Okay, so the magic number that you have there is 3. So I wanted to talk through that. Sometimes is it possible to have them 3 weeks in advance as opposed to 6?
Yeah.
Well, we need a motion first, right?
Can we get clarity from the city attorney just on Pastor Mark's statement number 10 on promoting one religion over another?
Mentioning one religion doesn't promote it over another. Promote where essentially you don't want council to have a proclamation in which they say X religion is better than Y religion. You can have a proclamation that speaks about religion. We often, have, usually as individual council members, they may have a proclamation that, supports, pastor appreciation day or a church's anniversary. We may have things about synagogues. It's just, you don't go say, hey, the city of Palm Bay, by the hand of the mayor says it on behalf of council, this religion is better than the other. It's not anti-religion. You can talk about religion. Council doesn't get to pick a religion and say that it is better than another religion. Speaking of a religion that doesn't say that, hey, speaking about prayer and that this religion is bad or this is the official religion of council. So you can speak about religion. You can support churches. You can support synagogues. You can support other things without saying that the official religion of the city of Palm Bay, thus says the mayor on behalf of city council, is X. And that's what it's getting at to. Because we talk about religion all the time. There's no prohibition about speaking about religion.
Thank you. He's speaking about one religion over the other. Was the proclamation that we issued during the National Day of Prayer, is that effective?
No, and I said that. It's not.
Okay, copy that.
We're not saying that this particular religion is bad or this religion is not the preferred religion of the city of Palm Bay.
Yeah,
there is no comparison.
And I just want to bring to remembrance that National Day of Prayer proclamation mentions our founding fathers at the same time. So I think we're good there as well. Councilman Landry.
Yes, Mayor. I just wanted to know if the deputy mayor would like to weigh in more after hearing from the four of us and hearing from public comment. If he wants to,
Oh, yeah.
what's his thoughts?
Absolutely, yes, sir. Because that'll formulate the motion, I'm sure. So yeah, my thing is that leeway, those 6 weeks. Are you solid on the 6 weeks, or are you?
I think 3 is a fair compromise. One other item I think it could be important to add is just directors can add their departments. Normal proclamations like Parks and Rec, Utilities, Safety Water Week, things of that nature can be, added by directors.
So I think
Not,
we
and
could
not
add
need to be
that.
sponsored by a council member.
So, Madam Therese, those 2 adjustments, I think. Would you need anything else?
Did that make sense? Or okay.
Okay, copy that.
Understood.
Thank
Council
you.
or city manager.
Okay, Therese, is that clear?
Understood.
All right, so the 6 weeks down to 3, and then council/city manager. Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved based on what was reiterated to the clerk.
The amendments.
Second.
I got a motion by Deputy Mayor Jaffe, seconded by Councilman Johnson. I don't see any other. Oh yes, Councilman Langevin, as you were.
Oh no, I didn't.
Oh, you did? Okay, copy that. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Passes 4-1. We're now on number 4, discussion of city advisory boards. Deputy Mayor Jaffe.
Yeah, if you guys can turn your attention to the packet that discusses the backup documentation concerning city boards, specifically the Infrastructure Advisory and Oversight Board, Sustainability Advisory Board, and that is it.
Okay.
Bringing this to your attention, specifically, I feel like these boards are not functioning as they were originally intended. There are quorum issues, there's attendance issues, there's several meetings with no agendas. A lot of staff time goes into preparing for these no meetings, and wanted to bring it to council's view so they can so we can make a decision on whether we want to continue these boards or not. I know specifically the Sustainability Advisory Board is lacking appointments from 2 members. My appointment resigned, and I don't intend on filling the position, so I don't think we're going to continue to have a quorum on that board in general. So yeah.
I'll weigh in on this. The Infrastructure Advisory Oversight Board, I think we owe that to the community based on the Go Road bond program, right? I think it would be premature. Maybe we need to massage that one a bit. I do understand your argument. I'll go ahead and agree with you on the Sustainability Board, because if you're not appointing someone, then we're going to lack a quorum all throughout at that point, right? But on that Infrastructure Advisory Oversight Board, I wouldn't want to see us lose that out. I wouldn't want to see the Sustainability Advisory Board go away either. But the quorum issue has got to be addressed. Now, how much do we invest in that? I guess that's the question, right, Deputy Mayor? How much do we invest in massaging, trying to get the right people to serve the community?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to hear from staff's viewpoint, like who actually attends the meeting from staff on the IOAB, Infrastructure Advisory Board. But I mean, I think we can all agree that the road bond program is an epic failure, and they're a big part of that reason. So I don't see why that should continue. They should be continuing advising council or the city on the road bond program.
I've got several speakers. Councilman Johnson first.
I'm sorry. I'm just laughing. Yeah. So I will say the best infrastructure advisory board meeting we had was when we had a collective meeting with council and the infrastructure advisory board at the same time. That was in 2019. And after that, COVID happened and we hadn't had one since. And what I found, and I'm just going to put it out there, former city engineer, former public works director, traffic engineer, whatever title you want to give the gentleman, which I'm also glad Deputy Mayor Jaffe put forth the policy he put in place for, was telling the infrastructure advisory board one thing, and I was hearing a different thing myself. So in regards to communication of what everybody's talking about, I wouldn't put it on the board. I would put it on, and I hate to say the word, bad actors. And that's what happens in, any field. In personal training, you can have bad actors. In healthcare, you can have bad actors. And that's what usually messes things up. So I do think the board should go if we're not going to utilize it correctly or as efficiently as we can. But I know I had calls and watched some meetings, and some of the information I was seeing was, I'm like, So, but yeah, and even the mistakes that were happening with the road bond was not on that board, but was on individual decisions of taking on more than what they thought they could and making decisions based off that. And then we as council are getting informed after the fact, and we're having to make a split decision on should we do this, should we do that. So that's it, Mayor.
I
Yeah.
appreciate you
Yes, sir.
elaborating, sir, because you were very eloquent in your speech. So thank you for that. Councilman Langevin, you're next, sir, and then Councilman Ham.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So I'll start with the Infrastructure Advisory Board. I do agree with you on the Infrastructure Advisory Board, Mayor. I think that board is important. The feedback I've gotten, I appointed a very motivated go-getter for my appointment, and he showed up with a lot of ideas, and they almost never had quorum. And he's been there every time. So I'm okay with massaging that. So I mean, maybe there's a point where if you miss so many meetings without an excuse, maybe you need to be relieved, and that councilman needs to appoint a new person. Or whatever the case may be, we could be creative, but I'm with you. We should keep that one, but we need to do something with it because right now it's not working. I think you all know where I stand on the Sustainability Advisory Board. So,
Thank you. Councilman Hammond.
Yeah, I am never for taking away a citizens board. I just feel like they should always have a say in it. But on the backside, I really think we need to make sure we're coming up with a team that is going to assemble and a team that is going to provide for what's going on. Maybe we can share it a little better. But one of my ideas would be if we could table this for 1 month, let me meet with the boards, find out some ideas. Then maybe they meet quarterly, maybe they meet semi-annually. But I wouldn't be for taking them away completely. If they only meet twice a year, just with stuff, I mean, I am okay with that. I'm okay with limiting however many, but I would get the input from the boards and see if they have any ideas to get more motivated people on there. I hate hearing people losing their voice, and that's something I'm not going to be for.
Thank you. I appreciate that, sir, and that may be a good compromise. I'm going to tee it back off, but definitely, my take is the same as yours. Pretty much, I like the public's engagement. I've said that time and time again. But if we had to choose, if I had to split the baby, I would definitely want to keep that infrastructure advisory board. Deputy Mayor.
So, keeping boards, getting rid of boards. I mean, there was a lot of discussion months and months ago about the budget advisory board. And then our first budget workshop, there was one resident here. I've been on council 8 months. I've never seen one report from the infrastructure advisory board. So when they do meet, where does that information go? As a council member, I work very hard and put a lot of time and energy and hours into working with, meeting different department heads, driving around the city, taking tours of the different places around the city, working with the city manager and finding out the needs. And then of course, work one-on-one with residents, emails, phone calls. And I think that's our duty as council members. And obviously, in my opinion, these boards aren't functioning the way they're intended. And maybe it is need to be an annual thing or semi-annual thing, or an ad hoc as needed. But that's just, I have a very strong position on it.
That's a good question, though. Why haven't the Infrastructure Advisory Board met? Has there been? I understand there's no quorum, but are we, to Councilman Langevin's point about massaging it? I just, we haven't had that traffic engineer that oversaw the Infrastructure Advisory Board in several months. Who has taken that responsibility on? How has that materialized? Those are questions too, right?
I mean, at the end of the day, council doesn't, the IOAB board doesn't get yelled at by residents for lack of roads. We do. Right. So, if this board is so great and fantastic and performing the way it's supposed, how come residents aren't barking up their tree, right? And how come we're not getting good advice and good information relayed to us?
So, would you consider tabling this until Councilman Hammer's suggestion?
No, I'm not willing.
Okay, all right. Councilman Johnson.
I have 2 points, Mayor, and I believe just the Lord dropped the thought on my mind. One, the Public Works Director starts on Monday, so that's something to consider. 2, why not just combine the boards? We always hear people talk about how we put pipes down when we have roads to fix, and we put roads down when we have pipes to fix. Why not combine the 2 boards and get everybody on the same page, so that way utilities and public works are meeting at the same time with the citizens, getting their feedback, sending that feedback to us, so we can take in their recommendations into consideration.
That may be a good suggestion. That's not what's on the agenda.
I mean, just for clarity, that Utilities Advisory Board was killed 3 years ago.
So I misspoke. Sustainability. That's what I meant. So thank you. Thank you for correcting me. Sustainability, because it all entangles with one another.
So my question is, how many folks on the Sustainability Board, Madam Therese? And then the same question for the Infrastructure Advisory Board.
I believe they're both 7.
7 each?
Yes.
Okay. So 7 each would be an even number. That you would always want an odd number if they're both combined. Is that correct?
Well, I would say.
Or you're saying minimize the.
Yeah, still
make it 9.
Yeah, make it 7, 9, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm tracking this. Okay. I think that's a good compromise. At the moment, it could come back. I know where you stand, Deputy Mayor. Councilman Langevin?
Well, I think if we make a board with 9 members, we're still not going to get a quorum.
Right. No, he said 7. It'd be 7. It'd be 7.
Well, we can't get a quorum with 7.
But they're combined.
All right, well, there's 2 on the Sustainability Advisory Board that currently show up, and I know of 1 on the infrastructure. Maybe there's another one, but they can't get a quorum either. So 4. All right, I guess they might be able to get a quorum if all the motivated people show up from both boards.
To your argument, I just had someone relocate, and I replaced them at last meeting. So that was a quick turnaround. But to what Councilman Hammer's saying, a lot of that responsibility should reflect on us, because if we're not actively appointing people, that's our fault, right? We have to take some type of responsibility over it as well. Deputy Mayor.
Gentlemen, I'm just trying to figure out how sustainability and infrastructure are jive together. They are 2 far different things.
Our whole low impact development, everything that was all done by Public Works. The language for that, stormwater. Where else can I go? That's Public Works. That's infrastructure, and that can lead to the waterways, and leading to the waterways can you know, affect the economic business within not just Palm Bay, but Brevard County. You know, look at what just happened. We just had the presentation. We just had the presentation on presentation number 2, and he's talking about run off into Turkey Creek. So I feel they both go hand in hand, especially with what we just listened to 2 hours ago. So that's all.
All right, thank you. So right now, Councilman Langevin.
Yeah, just in response to that, and I completely understand your train of thought and your way of thinking, Councilman Johnson, and it's not that it doesn't make sense. But when you're talking about infrastructure and stormwater, I do understand how there are sustainability impacts with that. There are. But when you're approaching it from an infrastructure standpoint, you're approaching it from realistic best practices and sustainability. But my concern is when you start adding the type of thought process that comes from a sustainability board, you start adding more less best practices and more what you consider just green initiatives. And that's what I don't want and what I want to avoid. So I just want a infrastructure board that focuses on infrastructure, and I don't want to start infusing a green initiative into the infrastructure board. That's going to take it in a bad direction, I think.
So the question still stands. The question still stands. Do we have no additional speaker cards, Deputy Mayor?
New cards.
Okay.
One from Mr. Rob Klimkowski.
Good evening again. Went to look at this item when you guys have your agendas over there. I figured the packet would have an agenda and maybe a packet as well online. You guys already archived the meeting, so you actually can't click on the packet right now. You can see the meeting, other than when public comment happens, of course. But right now, can't see any of the agenda or packet items online, so that's probably an issue because I can only go over there and get it, but can't look at the items. Another thing on advisory boards, are any of them statutorily required? You have to have them here. No AHAC meetings that are happening for affordable housing or stuff that's required by the state, right? Because those would be ones that you would want to keep most likely. I think, what is it, Brevard County has 67 boards, 67 advisory boards, and like 29 of them are statutorily required under Florida statute. That being said as well, I put my name in for an advisory board like a year ago. I never got a call. How many people right now have people asking to be on an advisory board? How many one of the councilmen have somebody that's put their name in that maybe they just decided not to go forward with? Because that's another question I'd like to know is, you guys say that you aren't appointing people. That's one issue. How many people aren't appointing people because it would be political favor or disfavor? That's another issue. Thank you.
Sir, can I ask you, because it's hard to read, where is it that you live, sir?
Palm Bay.
Yeah.
Zamora Street.
Zamora?
Yeah.
He had it on an earlier card.
Okay.
He just submitted that one.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to
Thank
write
you.
fast because I knew it said like prior to the start of the
Okay.
item, and I was like,
Thank you,
after,
sir.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just want to make sure we could reach out.
And just for clarity, there are statutory, required boards. These are not that we're discussing.
Any other speaker cards?
And Bill Batten has a card.
Bill Batten, 586 Ocean Spray Street, Southwest. To blame IAB for the road bond failure was kind of hurtful to me personally. And the reason I say that is I spent many, many hours attending the road ad hoc committee where we set down the initial guidelines for how the road bond was going to be put into play, what was going to be the criteria to be there. And then to blame the IAB for a failure project that I would say, for the time that I've lived in the city of Palm Bay going on 38 years, I now see more paved roads, I see development in neighborhoods that were being avoided because there was no paved roads. I see growth and I saw employment within the city. And then to say, well, the failure is because of IAB. IAB was just a follow-up committee to kind of watch what was happening within the city. Now, as for its failure, I agree. Sometimes there is no quorum. I agree with that statement wholeheartedly. Because I attend these meetings. Not just this one. I'm actively involved in most of the meetings. That's where I get a lot of information. The information that I pick up from these individuals over here that have come to these other meetings, they provide information that I can then use for passing on to other residents within the city of Palm Bay. So there is a gain to the system, right? Under sustainability, the LID input that was implemented by your staff, a lot of that information came from sustainability boards. Sometimes they don't know what you're asking for, where you really want them to go. I agree, you could probably get by with fewer meetings. But the information that's put out is beneficial, right? As for not getting a report back after the meetings, I thought that was the whole process. I thought we had staff there that did present minutes from the meeting back to the council. So if you're not receiving it, I don't know where the downfall is, because I've gone back and looked at the minutes that came back from the meeting. So I thought you were receiving it also. All right, so I understand concern as to some meetings are a waste of time, it feels like. But I can say the same thing about city council meetings sometimes too. But I'm not going to stop coming, just like I'm not going to stop attending the other ones, because that's a very good mechanism for gaining knowledge about my city. Thank you.
Thank you. Mark Miller.
Mark Miller, 898 Nelson Avenue. For me, it just comes down to one word: it's accountability. Right? If you're going to have these councils, these committees, they need to show up. If you're appointing a person and they're not showing up, Councilman Landsman just said he appointed a guy. He's high energy. He's in there. He's wanting to make a difference. He's wanting to serve. He's wanting to do. That's awesome. But if you've appointed guys and they're not showing up and you're not getting a quorum and you're not getting people to come, then is someone calling them up and saying, why are you not showing up? Why aren't you coming to the meetings? Why aren't you participating? Hold your appointee accountable. And if they're not showing up, get them out. I know even in church, right, we have requirements for folks to serve on the board. If you're not showing up for meetings, guess what? You're not going to be a board member very long. And so, we've got to drive accountability. I think removing the citizen input is a mistake. It's just another censorship of input. I think having these committees are important, but I think people have to be held accountable. If they're going to serve and have a title, they need to show up and put the time in. And I may regret that statement later, but as it stands right now, I think you guys got to hold people accountable and drive it. So that's where I'm at.
Thank you. Any other speaker cards?
Ruth Caulfield.
Ruth Caulfield, 935 Douglas Street, Southeast. Okay, this is a big problem. Notification to citizens on anything. I mean, I have the problem, Pastor Mark said he's got at the church. I have it with notifying people about my Constitution classes. It is hard to get notifications out to citizens to do anything. Even they're like, well, why didn't I know about this? Well, they don't know where to go. Used to be go to the newspaper. Well, what newspaper? Florida Today? Yeah, trash. No, we don't do Florida Today. I don't subscribe to it. I don't care about it. Nope, not happening. Hometown News, never seen it. Don't know. Don't know where to go. So we don't know where to go. So at the end of the day, where's the notifications? I applied, Therese, here we're going to go. I sent her an email 5 years ago and said, how do I get on Charter Commission? She said, I never saw it. Unfortunately, there was a miscommunication. She did have it. She didn't see it in time. And I think it's stupid, actually, to each council member assigned 2 people. If you have an unbalanced council, you're going to have an unbalanced charter commission. We should have at-large recommendations, notifications, public. I mean, if you're going to put out the Christmas extravaganza all over the place, let's put out an at-large need for all these boards and tell this. I mean, I beat up on my citizens all the time. If you're not there, you don't get to witch. You don't get to witch about it. So either you come here and you talk about it, or you stop witching. So this is, but if they don't know when, where, and how to talk about something, it's a moot point. This is a problem all over the nation with the internet and everything. Pat doesn't do Facebook. She doesn't do social media. And social media, quite honestly, can be hacked. And it doesn't get promoted. I don't see half the stuff with going on with the city unless I actively go out to the city website and do something about it. So it is a big problem. Notification. Somehow we're going to have to put postcards out. I don't know what, but somehow or another we're going to have to make a bigger effort to notify citizens about what's going on around here. Thank you.
Thank you. Does that conclude the speaker cards, sir?
Yes, Mayor.
Okay, so this was a discussion. Deputy Mayor, where do you want to go?
I'll make a motion to dissolve the Sustainability Advisory Board and table the Infrastructure Advisory Board until Councilman Hammer can come back with some suggestions.
I second it.
I got a motion by Deputy Mayor Jaffe, seconded by Councilman Langevin. Any further discussion, sir?
No, Mayor.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor.
So I had a question that might be good. So we said there's 7 members of the Infrastructure Advisory Board. So that would be 2 at-large positions. Are our at-large positions filled on the Infrastructure Advisory Board?
Hold, please.
Madam Therese?
I mean, we're not advertising for it, so my guess is we're only advertising for the Recreation Advisory Board at large currently.
Right, the 2 at-large positions are filled, so there's 2 vacant positions for city council.
Whose appointments are those?
Is one mine? I believe.
One, I think, well, one of mine just relocated.
No, one
Yes.
is for Councilman Hammer and Councilman Johnson.
Yeah, mine resigned, I think, a month or 2 ago.
And I still, yes, sir, I still replaced it. Does that conclude your questions? Okay, right now I got a motion by Councilman or Deputy Mayor Jaffe, seconded by Councilman Langevin. Councilman Hammer.
Well, I'll jump in. Mine resigned because they weren't having quorums. So, so to the point.
I had no clue that I didn't have one filled, but I will. Like I said, if you can give me a table for both of them, give me an opportunity to maybe fill them both up and come up with a great idea that works for everybody. Because I do know there are a couple people on sustainability board that are extremely passionate about what they do, and I would hate to tell Suzanne Connolly that her board was done. And I know she's incredibly passionate, and I know if I tell her, let's get it together, and I'm almost positive I can find some people if you just give me if you give me 1 month. I'll tell her for you.
Okay, so right now I have a motion by Deputy Mayor Jaffe, and it's been seconded by Councilman Langevin. I'm going to call the question. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, signify by saying nay.
Nay.
Roll call.
I'm sorry. Get my names together here. Sorry, Councilman Hammer,
Nay.
Councilman Langevin,
Yeah. Yes. Aye.
Councilman Johnson,
Nay.
Deputy Mayor Jaffe,
Aye.
Mayor Medina.
Nay. Motion fails. Okay, we're now on item number 5. Mr. Morton.
have an item before you tonight, considering the 2025 certification of taxable values fiscal year 26, proposed operating millage rate, fiscal year 2026, proposed debt millage rate, and scheduling dates for budgeting of the public hearings. And I'll have Angelica come up in a minute and talk about the technical data, but I've only been here 3 months, not even 2.5 months, and really digging in, of course, to everything. And you got thrown into budget, en masse. And I'm not advocating, but I wouldn't be doing my job if I wasn't educating you and the community. And I hear it already in every council meeting I've been in: fix the roads, fix the ditches, do the work. I gave a very strong presentation at the budget hearing in respects to our dilapidated and buildings that are falling apart, the age of our equipment, the age of our infrastructure, and the deficits that we have in those operational divisions. And it's getting worse. It's not getting better. But what I did say also at the meeting was that it was my strategy that if we maintain the current millage, that those funds would be used entirely for the purchase of new fire vehicles, which is what the proposed budget you're getting, the community will see, is doing. Every penny of that delta is going towards proposed millage. I get it. We're a nation founded, my kids like to say as a joke, but it's truth. We're founded as an anti-tax nation from people who didn't want to have tax on a breakfast condiment. But in times when it has mattered to the history of this country, when the need is demonstrated and it can be shown, people have also risen to the occasion and funded what needs to get done. I don't believe in debt, and I think I've made that clear. Bonds are not financing their municipal debt. Very rarely is there a case to be made in my judgment for bonds. Maybe utilities is the only real exception. There might be some others, and those because those are revenue generated. So we have a source of payback from users, not necessarily as a tax. I'm going to have to get into the debate tonight on taxes versus fees or charges for service. But what I want to demonstrate tonight is just the philosophy as I see it as the city manager when I review the budget. So we're talking about, and we got the criticism, which is fair, why do we zero in on a house value? So instead of using the house value we used a $300,000 house as an assessed value. And you can carry the table on the current fiscal year, the millage rate. If we extend that millage rate, we see a reduction in the Go Road bonds, and on that $300,000 house taxable, you can see the bylines there, which I can't read. Well, if I put my glasses on, I can read them. The new taxable value assumes a 3% cap from Save Our Homes, which most folks have that are vested in this argument. The additional funding, of course, on top of that, we also have the 3% cap that the city has on the cap rate. So we're starting from 2 deficits. But it annualizes to an increase of $12.54 per year, not per month, per year for the investment into fire trucks. And I have an ISO table, and when I was talking with staff today and just being collegial, I said we have a choice, right, to decide to invest in our community and public safety and the assets and resources we need, or we can invest in an insurance company based out of New York and send our premiums up there. And so these tables are showing the delta. Now, I do have the fire chief here to provide some contextual evidence on ISO rating, what it does to your homeowner's insurance. They only count a discount down to a level 5. Many areas of the city are better than level 5. I don't want to mislead the conversation. Also, and the chief's going to come to explain the particulars behind that, but also when we talk about economic development, we talk about taking this plan, which is in motion. We heard about the compound a couple weeks back. We continue to meet with businesses. We hear what the chamber's doing. We're putting strategies in place through our economic development department to actually make progress on the conversations we've been having as a community. Something I talked about in my interview coming here. But another consideration that businesses make is what is their total cost of service? It's not just our entry point into our city in terms of permitting and are we being responsive? Have we dealt with our issues? Can we address timelines? But it's costs. It's fixed costs. It's lease. It's triple net. It's M&O. It's staffing. It's housing for their employees. And so it impacts businesses in 2 ways: additional housing costs and the ISO costs that businesses, commercial operations, manufacturing operations bear significantly a higher delta. So it also becomes a barrier to economic development. Again, I'm sharing facts and information. Please don't mistake it. I feel like I'm advocating, but I don't think I'd be doing my job if I didn't bring up a hard conversation tonight about the deficit of infrastructure, the importance of funding critical infrastructure, and a way we can approach it without taking on debt. Because if we take on debt, we're tripping over $1 to pick up a dime, is the way I like to say it. We literally are tripping over the dollar bill to pick up 10 cents off the ground. So I wanted to just give you my perspective as I've approached this budget, what I intend to try to accomplish in the next couple of years with catching up with infrastructure, securing our roads and making order out of road projects, police, fire, the core elements of public safety. We got guys in the public works team. I gave out service awards this morning. They've been here 25 years, 23 years, 22 years. It's not ideal, but they don't mind driving 24-year-old pickup trucks, 25-year-old pickup trucks, 27-year-old pickup trucks. Yes, we have those in inventories that we're sending our guys out to work with every day. They're making do with the tools, right? They are, and they're not complaining every day about it. But there's some things that we can't make do with. We can't make do with a 25-year-old fire engine, in my opinion. That's not okay. And so we need to address the comprehensive infrastructure in the city, which is going to include that equipment to serve our public works folks that drive out and stand on the side of the roads and stand in the medians and do all those things that also are a risk and serve this community. But tonight I'm here to talk about the Delta, what I told the community I would do with the proposed Delta difference in the council in a budget. And Chief, did you want to elaborate anything on ISO? Did we cover it? Did you want to elaborate on anything on the ISO? Did we cover it just fine? Please,
Come on up,
and then we'll have
sir,
Angelica come.
on the mic. See.
Yes. A couple things. I think there needs to be some clarity on when it comes to the ISO rating and how that affects the delivery of service. First off, the fire department is a lot more complex than these little red trucks going out to fires and motor vehicle accidents and things like that. There's standards that we meet. There's standards we have to meet. There's standards that are done for the purpose of getting people, getting fire trucks, getting emergency medical vehicles to a certain location for a certain type of incident within a certain time period. And when that truck gets on scene, that deployment model also includes the amount of training, the type of training, what's in that truck, and how that truck actually impacts to the overall outcome of the incident that they were sent to. So what you're seeing here is, like it says here, that this is the cost of the homeowners for a lack of insurance or a lack of a good fire department. Right now, there's, from what our rough estimates, we're trying to fine tune this. This city right now has approximately 1,000 plus homes, not counting businesses. And a couple of those businesses would be the two new Publixes brought into the city, the upcoming Walmart marketplace, and those out in those areas that are classified currently at a level 10 fire protection, the absolute worst fire protection rating you can get. What is that doing for the homeowners out there? That shows you right there the typical cost of fire insurance for having those homes, those businesses that are currently within this city limits out there in those areas. In addition to that, when you turn around and you look at that number and you look at a business, those premium numbers are for a homeowner. Businesses usually see that over $10,000 plus, depending on the type of business, the square footage, what is the fire load inside of that. Those all play into what's going on there. So in order to get it to where the taxpayers are getting the benefit of a proper fire protection service, and at the same time seeing a reduction in their fire insurance tax, is all what we're going to do here, is what this whole thing is about. The fire department, in order for these things to happen, you have to be within 5 miles of a fire station to get that rating. Right now, we have the vast part of the south end of the city and the most of the west end of the city that do not have a fire station within 5 miles. So they're paying the absolute most in fire protection. Now, I can't tell you, I've heard a couple of numbers, and I would have to ask somebody to clarify this for me, but leaving the tax rate at what it's currently at, I believe I've heard between $30, $32, I'm not sure what that is, would be what the increase would be. When you look at people that live in these areas, and you just take them from a 10, and if we just went to a 2 for a $350,000 home, that's how many thousands of dollars saved in a year. And how much are we looking to make the tax impact, the tax increase? A 2-digit number. I think that's well worth it. Plus, what that does is this also helps us get trucks on the road that actually do the job, not the job of what the fire service was 25 years ago. So there's a lot that goes into delivering a fire and emergency medical services program. It's not just about a bunch of firefighters jumping on the red truck and going out to fight the fire and coming back. There's a lot of complexities involved in this. There's been a lot of neglect of the fire department over the years. Past administrations, past councils, they've always kicked the can down the road. And now we're in a position to where that on a good day, I have a spare truck if I need it. There's days where we've not had spare trucks when we've had trucks broken down. So what this is about is not only to get the fire department where it should be, but to provide the homeowners the level of protection they should have. And when this is done correctly, you can see some of the examples there of the cost savings. And it's a lot more in the cost savings than it is for the tax increase. If there's any questions.
I just want to close out to say two things, just so I can be very clear with everyone listening in the community. We are looking at the other strategies that go into this. We're looking at interlocal agreements and all those wonderful things that help stretch resources, right? It's not going to solve this issue. And then when everyone sees proposed budget, which should be coming out pretty quick, proposing these 2 fire engines that are consumed if you know, depending on the cap conversation what the community wishes to do. And then I have 2 additional fire trucks attributed to the general fund, because the core philosophy around the budget has been, and people will see, it's public safety and fire, it's public safety and police, it's public safety and public works, and it's securing and trying to shore up our falling apart assets. You know, projects at the community centers, buildings that are community access and uses for events and gatherings and funerals and birthday parties and things. You know, again, 20 years of deferred maintenance. So it is a tight budget, and we're really trying to invest back and stop some of the hemorrhaging on throwing good money after bad. And so that was all I wanted to close with. And of course, it's the public's decision, but thank you.
Thank you.
Any additional questions?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Are there any questions, gentlemen? Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief. Any speaker cards?
Bill,
Deputy Mayor?
Bill Baden.
Bill Batten, 586 Ocean Spray Street, Southwest. First, I'd like to say what a great job the workshop was. I know there was not a lot of citizens in the audience, but for the information that I got, I'm saying this to the council, I already called your staff and told them what a great job I thought they did. I'm telling you, that, and I've been attending this for 37 years now. That was the most informative workshop on the budget that I've ever attended, and gave me a lot of input for making decisions. So first of all, I just want to say, good job on what they did, and good job on your workshop. That was good. What decision you make now, I'll live with, as long as we don't exceed a millage rate of 10. But in that millage rate of 10, I don't want to see an increase in police in a separate item. I don't want to see an increase in police or fire in it, or for stormwater. Add all the tax you pay, bring that up to where you do not exceed your millage of 10. Don't want to see it, but I would be comfortable and understanding with that, because that's what you have to govern under. That being said, I just wanted to say what a good job your staff did at that workshop. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speaker cards, Deputy Mayor?
Alan Miles.
Dr. Alan Miles, 350 Garvey Road Southwest. I had a whole bunch of stuff put together, but I guess my lack of understanding about new taxes, it's freezing in here, is that if you go back that 15, 20, 25 years ago, the average house cost $100,000 to $200,000. And if you took your homestead exemption out of it and the 80% tax assessment, you're probably only paying for a $125,000 house. Now the average house is $300,000 to $400,000. You take out the same 80% and $25,000 or $50,000 homestead exemption, and now you still have a $300,000. So the difference between a $125,000 house and a $300,000 house now means your taxes are 3 times more. So how come if we're making 3 times more taxes now, we can't afford a fire engine or a police car? Or why do the 1,000 people that live 15 miles or 10 miles down Babcock Street want us to pay for them to have a fire station? Or the people that live out by the high school off the end of Malabar, which is another 10 miles from here, or I-95 want us to pay for them to have a police station and a fire station. Why didn't the builders and why didn't you guys put that into the plots and make them do that back then? So now what do you have? You have a Publix, but you don't have anything else. You don't even have land to do it. Last time I heard they were going to buy land down the end of Babcock Street, and it didn't have city water. So they couldn't even buy the property to do that. So that's my thoughts. My thoughts are we don't need the tax increase because it's already been increased 3 times. Thank you.
Thank you.
Pat Delpro.
This is freezing here. Pat Dalper, 410 Georges Avenue Northeast. President Trump is dropping taxes. Why are we raising taxes? There was a fact that came out that the majority of our schools have over 50% to 75% disadvantaged students. So if we have that many disadvantaged students, that means we have that many disadvantaged families. So how are we going to sell this increase in taxes when they really can't afford it? We have seniors, majority of seniors in this city living on Social Security or whatever, and how are they going to pay an increase in taxes? I agree, we need more money, but we need to find other ways to get the money. So the other concern is, why do we have so many students that are disadvantaged? Do we really have a city that's thriving or not?
Thank you. Next speaker.
Mark Miller.
Arms across, not for the other reason other than it is kind of chilly. I think I'm sitting underneath the vent. All right, Mark Miller, 898 Nelson Avenue. What I just heard is you want 100% of the citizens of Palm Bay to pay for all the folks buying these new expensive homes down there so they can save thousands on their insurance. I just think that's wrong. I think that all in all is I'm not going to save any money on my insurance because somebody 30 miles away has a new fire truck, right? But you want me to pay for it. And so if I'm interpreting the message correctly, but I would say that, yeah, Palm Bay is in a world of hurt. Looking backwards, maybe we can learn a little from it. And what are we going to do going forward? We got a lot of new homes coming. We got a lot of new building going. We got a lot of stuff going on. Where was the budget? Where's the passing on the impact fees to all the new folks that are coming in? Where's that vision and that plan? How are we so short? It just absolutely blows my mind and reeks of incompetence or corruption, right? I just don't understand how we could be this far behind. And none of this is new. I know you guys are new, and each year or every couple of years, people rotate out, but, going to more and more taxes, just like the gentleman said, I mean, prices are going way up, taxes are going up, and it just doesn't make sense to me. If we do have to go that route, and that is the vote today, I would just really encourage, what are the other things that were looked at, right, to get money? That the Doge thing or whatever else, efficiency. Well, what are some of the other things that we looked at, right? And maybe you've already shared that, and I just didn't know. But I would love to hear before a yes vote, what else have we done to get the money, right? To get the money from other areas, to what else has been done before just increase taxes, right? Just throw a few more bucks. That's only $24 a person. What difference does it make? It's insignificant. No, it is significant, especially when there are a bunch of people out there. I mean, we've fed 500 families in less than 2 hours that were starving, right? Think of all the food banks and all the issues that are going on. We shouldn't have that in this city, man. And so I just really think that lack of vision, is where we are. And I think establishing that vision and being able to budget for it with any new folks coming in and that whole development of that parkway, they need to pay for their own. I don't need to pay for that. That's where I'm at.
Thank you. Mr. Morton.
Just wanted to answer those questions just since they're great. And, we are in the state of Florida, and Florida limits everything we do. You saw it tonight with the plat restrictions. There's a limit to what we can collect in impact fees. And this council just raised the impact fees on fire I think a year ago, and just asked us at the last budget workshop that you were at to max those fees out to the maximum allowable under state statute. So we're taking those steps. We're not just saying to everybody residents. Fire is one of those things that's system-wide. I used this example in the last meeting. They're paying for you as much as you're paying for them. Fire trucks don't live in one place and never go to any other part of the city. It's to serve our entire community, no matter where you're at, whether you're on a road, whether you're in your home, whether you're out of business. And then just the fallacy that we make sometimes from a budget perspective, we're not the federal government. We cannot deficit spend. So it's great that the federal government's doing a lot of DOGE efficiency. We're not sending money to Uganda to pay for sex change operations. We're not funding research on I'm being serious, I'm being sarcastic, right? So we don't have the deficit spending capability. When we do, it comes to the public. Those rare instances where we do bonds, we're looking at our efficiencies every day. We're not filling positions that are open right now. We're not hiring new positions. When I say not filling positions, I want to be very clear. There's some we've identified we don't need to fill. We haven't created any new FTEs in the budget, right? So we're trying to do that heavy lifting. It's going to take time. I don't know if there's a cut. I think I said this also during the interview. You're never going to cut your way to where we need to be. That's just where I'm at from my read of the city. But again, just that clarity between federal budget and state budget, and then down to the lower level of the city budget. And we're handicapped on so many new revenues, what the state will let us do. And as you're paying attention, the state is looking, and it did this year, take away additional revenue shares, take away additional funding opportunities. So it looks great from the governor's level, but it throws the burden back on the local communities at the same time they're taking our decision-making away. So that's the objective reality we struggle with. Again, not trying to convince you. I wanted to try to just hopefully honestly answer your question.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Ruth Koffeld.
Ruth Caulfield, 935 Douglas Street. All right, so everything we just talked about, what's the bottom line? The bottom line is you can't do any of that until we fix the roads and we have to fix the infrastructure and the utilities. Just like we said, can't buy this because there's no water on it. Can't buy that because nothing is fixed. Nothing is done. I'm not even seeing it. I'm not even seeing the status report. I want to see it. I'm a project manager. I want to see a status report from one of my departments about what's going on. And I want to know where to find that. This chart and all the charts that I've seen, again, what is the root cause? What is the original intent before we can move forward with any goals whatsoever? Cannot do anything without all these roads and utilities. And we will not be able to, it doesn't matter if we have any more fire departments or police departments, as the mayor promised in his first term, because they can't get anywhere. They won't be able to get in. Have you watched an ambulance try to get through traffic on Malabar Road? It's scary, very scary, and Palm Bay Road as well. So, and what bothers me, and I can add, so how many people have entered the city since 2020? Where's that revenue? Where's that money? You know where it is? It's in the apartment buildings that were built between that time, and we're not tracking the vacancies. We're not tracking them at all. I've asked for that many times. Where is it? Where's the tracking on these apartment buildings? Are they vacant? Or how many people are living in them? I watched the one over off of Minton near Norfolk Parkway. I saw it sit vacant for months after it was built. They just now put open signs there. Months. What are they doing with it? Besides the fact that they're built by sticks. One good hurricane comes by, it's going to smack the crap out of that thing. Who's going to be responsible for those people that get hurt? Who's going to be responsible for all that? Stop building right now. Just put a hold on all the building projects What happened to the project? Cancel all projects without a start date after, 1/1/25, January. I heard that in this council that we're not going to do anything else until we got these things fixed. What happened to that? Where'd that statement go? We need to stop doing stuff so that we can get what we need done first. All right? So why isn't Palm Bay pushing back on Tallahassee? Because you want to know why? When I was in the Planning and Zoning Commission, one of the attorneys said to me, well, you don't want to piss off Tallahassee. I do. They don't live here. We live here. Thank you.
Ma'am, you mentioned Minton and where exactly?
Norfolk Parkway.
That's West Melbourne.
Oh,
The Norfolk Parkway across from Sawgrass.
okay.
So they're on near the overpass for 95. They just put signs out for now they're open.
Okay, I was thinking it was in Palm Bay. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. What I'm saying is that's one example.
Yes, ma'am.
Of this building. It's got to stop.
I just had to make a visual when you said Minton. I'm trying to think of where. Any other speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
Okay. Do you have any questions, council members of staff at this point? I've got Councilman Johnson first and then Councilman Hammer.
Yes, Mayor. As everybody's been speaking, everything's been coming to me quickly. And I'm looking over towards Mr. Weinberg and Mr. Batten in regards to the recollection of the past decade or so. Back 10 years ago or so, council was consistently raising the cap because they were being advised, we have this emergency needs here, we have these emergency needs there. Fast forward, Councilman Bailey provided the suggestion of 3% cap to try to put a limit on raising the millage rate. Fast forward, since I was on council in 2018 up till now, majority of the time we went over the millage rate to address emergency needs. So the fact that I'm with you, Pastor Miller. You're looking at, we're constantly raising the millage rate, or we're constantly busting the cap, however you want to rephrase it. But that threshold is not being closed. There's a misconnection there, and that's where numbers don't lie. So to your point, Mayor, when you ran for transparency, speaking on it wasn't operational audit. It was a different term. But you know what I'm talking about. At that time, I couldn't see what you were speaking on, but now I see it with a lot more clarity. Like, when you have those numbers, you can see, okay, this isn't working. Okay, let's move this funding over here. Or that's not working. Let's move this funding over here. So that's why I've been harping on zero-based budgeting, or we were on the same page with the Inspector General last year, Mayor, or operational audit. So you can see where the holes are in regards to our government, or where the miscommunication is within our government. So I'm fine with, at this time, and that's a whole nother thing. I'm glad it was brought up in regards to the state. Insurance companies are getting away with whatever they want because majority of the state legislators are lawyers, and if they're not lawyers, then they're getting fed the legislation and they're just putting their name on it to co-sponsor it. So that's a whole nother topic, but I can't the cap or raise the millage rate without showing numbers to justify it. Really is where I'm at, because I've been part of council of the vote of raising the cap multiple times, and we're still being told, we're short here, we're short there. Okay, well, we are just the legislative body to approve. We're not the stewards in per se of handling the day-to-day 9 to 5 of the funds. So I think that's something, and I appreciate Mr. Morton on it, but I think really just getting down to the weeds of things to uproot what we need to uproot and just go from there, Mayor. So I'm conflicted, but at the same time, I'm just going based off the history of the past and seeing where we are now, because we've been raising the rate, and still have all these issues. I don't think it's on council on that end, other than having information or partial information and making movements off of that. So that's all, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Hammer?
Yeah, I'm going to give two sides of this. As Mike Hammer, citizen of Palm Bay, I would be 100% for spending $1 a month to provide fire trucks and better service to my community. As Councilman Hammer, I sat there for 14 months talking about how our taxes are too high. I can't, in good faith, go up on my millage rate. If there's an option to keep it to where homeowners pay nothing more, I would entertain that. But I'm gonna be on my word, and I think our millage rate here is a little high. And if we can still come up with what we need and adjust our millage rate, I'd be for that. But I just spent 14 months talking about how we need to lower taxes, and I can't sit here on my first time being on here raising taxes. That's me as a person, and I know a lot more now, and I was put up here by the community, not by me, Mike Hammer, and I've had so many people reach out to me about raising this and raising this and raising this, and I would be okay with if we can make it to where they don't pay anything more, but I can't be behind raising it.
So I think at the last budget workshop, we talked about keeping the same millage rate up as last year. Is that correct? Has that changed, Mr. Morton?
That's correct. No, it has not changed.
Okay, so we gave you direction to build your budget around that millage rate. Is that correct?
Correct. Maintaining the current millage rate, not increasing it.
Not increasing
It does
it.
result in a small tax increase. Yes.
Okay.
Or a tax increase.
And do you have a figure on that, just so that I'm understanding?
A figure in terms of what? The difference?
Yes,
it's
not raising the millage rate, but keeping it the same.
On a $300,000 house, there's about a $12 difference, is what they showed in the presentation earlier.
Per year.
Per year.
12 per. Oh,
$12,
I see where the discrepancy is. Okay, Councilman or Deputy Mayor Jaffe, and then Councilman Lynn.
Right. So obviously, we all live in Palm Bay. Me personally, I'm a fiscal conservative. I don't want to pay more in taxes than I need to. I'm also a realist. Again, as I mentioned earlier, I've spent an incredible amount of time. I probably spent 15 hours at City Hall this week alone, and other departments, and there are needs everywhere. We've experienced extreme inflation over the last several years, and cost of goods have gone up dramatically, and other things have not followed suit. Impact fees haven't followed suit, and back in the 90s, we've had incredible annexation into the city of Palm Bay that has created this urban sprawl that we are suffering from now. You have some streets in Palm Bay with one or two houses, and those streets are brand new paved. Why are those roads paved? That's terrible things that should have happened. Those roads should have been 60-70% built out before those roads were paved. So to your point of incompetence, Pastor Miller, I agree. It's why I decided to run for council. I know I bring a lot of controversial things to the dais, but at the end of the day, I'm far from incompetent. What we're doing tonight is we're going to advertise a millage rate, which can be lowered. We still have runway left over the next couple months, but just advertising the millage rate based on the staff recommendation of 6.7339 does not mean that's what we're going to settle on in September. It's just giving us the leeway to continue the budget season, to let Mr. Morton and his staff continue to massage the budget and find continued cuts. And residents are still going to be able to have input, and the council will make a firm decision at a later date. But right now, we set the rate higher. We give ourselves that ability for success while still working on a goal and a function of trying to get that millage rate lower. At least that is my intention. So with that, I'll pass.
Councilman Langevin.
Thank you, Mayor. So I hate taxes, and I particularly hate property taxes. I've said this multiple times. I've been on social media about it. Property taxes are the most evil form of taxation because you can never fully own your property if you always have to pay rent to the government. And it was mentioned about pushing back on Tallahassee. Not only do I push back on Tallahassee, I'm currently working with Tallahassee to find viable, reasonable alternatives to property taxes. But we were only elected about 6 months ago. The past budget season had already been approved. I recognize that to fix Palm Bay, we needed drastic action, and we had to almost rebuild the city from the ground up from a government perspective. And so that's why I did what I did 6 months ago and made the motion to relieve the city manager. And I ended up getting exactly what I wanted in our current city manager, Mr. Morton. But that didn't come right away. It was a tumultuous process. We had a temporary city manager who I think did a great job bringing back a great budgeting process, teaching a lot about budgets. That's why we brought Scott Morgan on to teach budgeting. But by the time Mr. Morgan got here, we were already far into a budgeting cycle. He is catching up at a phenomenal rate, but he's asking us to give him 1 year to allow him to catch public safety up. And once we can move forward with that, he's going to be here for a year by the time we get into the next budget cycle. I believe, to some of the other points that were brought up, that in some perspectives, in his own way, he's going to doge the city. We're going to be much more efficient. I'm not going to vote to raise taxes again next year or to even keep the millage rate the same next year in a way that would raise taxes. But I'm going to trust Mr. Morton 1 year, and I'm going to give him to keep the millage rate the same and use that slight increase if we have any to pay for the new fire trucks. Next year, if he comes back and says, well, we've got a new emergency, I'm not going to be as amiable. But with it being his first year and he's got a plan and he's doing a phenomenal job and he's earned our trust, I'm going to trust him on this one, and then we're going to reevaluate next year.
Thank you. And I'll weigh in. I'm for keeping the millage rate the same. We talk about people that live in different places within the city. When it comes to preserving the life of someone, that's what we're questioning up here. And to maintain the same millage rate that we paid last year, I think is an awesome tool that we can give our new city manager the opportunity to restore what has been neglected for a very long time. And yes, I do agree with increasing our public safety, and that's an ever daunting task. To equip our police today, it's thousands of dollars more because of laptops, their outfits, their weapons, and that all costs. But each and every member on this dais raise their right hand to protect the sanctity of life. And reducing our response times is critical not only to each and every citizen, but to our public safety individuals. I will say this, I've been the direct benefit of a quick response time for my parents and myself back in 2020. And I can tell you that when the seconds count, we're not counting anything else, but we can possibly lose a life. And so I am for setting this at the same millage rate as last year, perhaps for different reasons than the individuals on this dais. But this city, as Deputy Mayor eloquently put it, back in the 90s, huge sprawl. You wouldn't want to build a city like this, right? Because what you should do is have the infrastructure, meaning water, sewer, and the whole nine, and then build from there and build it out. But it is what it is. These are the cards we've been dealt with. And to your argument, I have voted to maintain that millage rate before at 7.595. Today, I will vote to maintain the 6.7339 millage rate. So that is the adverse effect of the 3% cap. And I'm glad that Master Chief Batten, and yes, I do call him Master Chief because I believe he rates that title, even though he's a senior chief. And I'll tell you, he touched a little bit on what the law is. A millage of 10. Just a few short years ago, when you were on this dais, before any one of us came on, the millage rate, as the chart was previously shown, was at 8. And no public safety strides were made compared to the 7.595. I want to highlight that. In my opinion, to increase our public safety today, to set that millage rate at 7.7339, it may be able to save a life. And I'm willing to set that at that time. Deputy Mayor, I understand you're right on point. Have them continue to massage it, but I am for setting that millage rate, which is less than the 7.595 before, which is the same as we set last year. So those are my thoughts. There aren't any additional speaker cards, so I'll need a motion to authorize. Okay, you can ask your question, but the motion's got to authorize the city manager to advertise, right? 2026, our operating millage rate at 6.7339. Councilman Hammond.
If this passes tonight, that means it gives city manager and staff leeway to try to get it back down, and we still get to vote on it again at the end, correct?
You're setting the high water mark tonight. I mean, I can go, cut a fire truck out of the budget. I mean, really, that's and I'm not being dramatic, but that's kind of where we're at. Or we can look for little cuts, but we're going to have to total something pretty big. $1.7 million, $2 million, $3 million, and there's no new vehicles being purchased really for almost any department. There's no capital equipment. I'm just telling you where we're at. So I can start looking at bringing you in options to cut operations, close down facilities.
So I
put a hiring freeze on. I mean, I'll bring back no drama. Just if we need to raise a certain number, and you give me a number, you're saying, hey, go try to target this number. I'll bring back a whole bunch of, and they won't be monument strategy options. It'll be here's a bunch of options. If we're trying to reach a certain number, you guys can direct us on what you want to see get removed from the budget.
So if our fire impact fees go up, will that affect this?
Over time, yes. Over time. We still have, part of the strategy around the fire impact fees is, as you guys know, we've got the need for the aging fire stations that are non-functional, falling apart. We've got need for 3 additional fire stations. So, you've got a $20 million unfunded liability in capital for fire stations that coming online in 2027. So, So the needs until we catch up, until we grow business, are going to continue to grow.
Thank you.
So,
Mayor, I'll make a motion to extend the meeting to 11:30.
I've got a motion to extend the meeting to 11:30. I need a second.
I'll second.
Got a motion by Deputy Mayor Jaffe, seconded by Councilman Langevin. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Passes unanimously.
No, nay.
4-1.
Mayor,
Passes 4-1.
I'll make a motion to authorize the city manager to advertise fiscal year 2026 proposed operating millage rate of up to 6.7339, and to authorize the city manager to advertise the fiscal year 2026 proposed voted debt millage rate of 0.993 and schedule the first public hearing date for Wednesday, September 10th, 2025 at 6 p.m. and the second public hearing date for Wednesday, September 24th, 2025 at 6 p.m.
I got a motion by Deputy Mayor Jaffe,
I'll second.
seconded by Councilman Langevin.
No discussion.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed signify by saying nay.
Nay.
Motion passes 3-2. We are now on council reports. Councilman Landry.
All right, thank you, Mayor. So first off, we said something earlier about recognizing one religion over the other. I'm just going to say I proclaim Christ as King, and to me, he's above all others, but that's a personal comment. So on that, back to business. So I want to bring up something tonight. It was an idea I've had. I've ran it by, I talked a lot with the city manager about it. I've ran it by legal to make sure we were clear on that. You know, when we ran, I actually ran on public safety second, because to me, the most I've heard from the community in the campaign and still to this day is infrastructure. There's a lot that's encompassed in infrastructure. Since we've been elected, we've made some strides, some little strides here with utilities, with some intersections and things. And then our TPO representatives are doing an amazing job. But that's all going to take a lot of time and focus on certain areas. So what I want to ask for consensus tonight, gentlemen, is I want to reevaluate how we're spending the roughly $50 million that we have left in the Go Roads budget. I don't believe that just paving $50 million worth of road until we run out and then calling it a day and not completing all the roads anyways, because of we're very much in the deficit on that. I just don't think that's the best use of the Go Roads funds. I think if we could remaneuver that money to some major projects, particularly on Malabar Road, that would be what the voters voted for us to do, and it would be just a much better use of that funding. We particularly have some critical needs near the I-95 interchange, some safety stuff, and then widening that road. And that's all going to be very expensive projects that we cannot do with our budget. Future budgets can address road pavings, but future budgets cannot address widening Malabar Road. So I wanted to bring that up and see if you were interested.
Well, that's a good question. I think legally, we should ask our attorney, because when folks vote on something, it's got to be whatever they're voting on. We just can't switch in midstream. So I wanted to get counsel from our city attorney.
Which roads projects we do, that's always been a council initiative. The actual bond doesn't say, any specific roads. It does provide that it has to be roadways that is in the Palm Bay or some pertinent structures, but it doesn't list the roads. That's always been council's determination.
Okay. So I would give you a thumbs up to look at that.
I support it, Councilman Langevin.
All right, thank you. That's all for me.
Okay, so we've got four yeses. You wanted to weigh in?
Well, I'm a yes, but just incorporate with the new public works director. Yeah. So yeah, that's all.
And the city
That's automatic. Yeah. I think that's a given. So. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Point of clarification. So the way I understand that, and to honor the spirit and intent of what I'm hearing, is we would not, I don't know if anything's in the works, Christine could probably answer that. We would pause, I would suggest, we pause anything that's not bid or not constructed, and Go Roads, anything we don't have to fund at the moment, things we can stop while we evaluate the next phase. Because I don't want to go spend 10, 5, whatever. I don't want to spend anything, right? So is that the direction the council's comfortable with? There's something that we're not contractually obligated to. We're going to stop everything while we do this evaluation and report back to council.
I just do know there's some phases that have had the stormwater crossings done and like temporary asphalt patches, and those areas aren't paved. So just
No, I'm great. I just want to stop. That was my intent. That's what I understood. I'll stop everything. We'll come back and report. Am I hearing that correctly?
I'm just saying, I don't know if we stop the areas that
Yeah.
had the road crossings done and temporary asphalt in place, like just really analyze that is all I'm suggesting.
I think just analyzing it, because if you have several projects already about the turnkey, that's an area of concern. But he wants to reevaluate how the remainder could be addressed.
Okay.
Well,
thank you.
That's what I understood.
Yeah, so basically anything that's not, that's in the chute that hasn't been started, we freeze that. But yeah, that's been started already, even if that means just a little bit, then finish the project. But anything that's in the chute that hasn't been started yet, we freeze it until we get a better evaluation.
Is that clear? Because I'm looking at Christine at the same time. Come on up. Come on up. Is this in advertent or again?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to confirm please, you mean if we haven't actually advertised it for bid, we're holding? We have them already under design, but that's not what you're talking about. If we haven't actually advertised it for bid, you want us to pause on it, correct?
Well, I guess where the projects are, it's gotta be, it just can't be blanket. That's how I look at it, right? Because we have a public works director that's already been in touch with you, that's already came to visit our city. So my concern is I'm already putting handcuffs on him. I would prefer to see him work with Councilman Langevin at that point. So I don't want to stop anything that unless that public works director is aware and is in agreement with it. So that's where I would be at, because I'd rather have him make that determination with our city manager. Does that, in other words, I don't want to put any handcuffs on him or our city manager at this point.
I think the directive was if we're launched, we keep moving, no new projects advertised or bid, we'll do the complete evaluation.
No new projects advertised.
Correct.
Understood.
And we'll come back with a strategy within 30 days or so with the new public works director starting of how we're going to approach it. So we have a timeline so it doesn't disappear into the void. We'll communicate that and we'll work on the timeline, I think is how we'll approach that. That's okay.
All right, sir.
Perfect.
Thank
Carry
you.
on. Thank you. Thank you, Christine. Okay, does that conclude your report, sir? All right, Councilman Hammer.
All right. First, I'd like to make a commitment to this council that we have up here, that I am going to reach out to the committees, and I am going to work hard at getting them staffed and coming up with a good report for something moving forward. And if we can't do that, I will be the one to bring the item that Councilman Jaffe brought up myself. Secondly, during our TPO meeting, something that I've spoke about to our council many times was the traffic at Veterans Park and the pedestrian crossing. I just want to bring the fact that pedestrian crossing there is the worst in Brevard County. According to our TPO, there is a 12% yield rate. That means 12% of drivers that pass by there yield. 12%. So when that's something I'm really passionate about. If we can do something about that area, that's something it's on the radar even at TPO. So another thing that was brought up to me was when we do our fire stations in the future, there's a HB 791. If we can incorporate into our fire stations for baby boxes. Just one in the city it's something somebody brought up to me, gave me some legislation that's been passed for it and whatnot. And I do want to say over the past month, a week ago, we lost a person in Public Works. It was spoken about last week. Being from Public Works, it means a lot to me. I was out there with the guys both days, Monday and Tuesday. We had prayer, we had reflection, and I just want to give my sympathy and my condolences to the family. And he was a great man, and he will definitely be missed by a lot of people out there. And lastly, today's my dad's birthday. 7 months ago, we found out he had cancer. And Tuesday, he got to ring the bell that he's cancer-free. His strength getting through this, it makes me a better man. And I want to say I'm thankful for him and happy birthday. And yeah, and thank you for everybody does up here. And I really appreciate everything.
Thank you. Councilman Johnson.
Yes, Mayor. So first, the reason why I voted no on extending the meeting was trying to keep us on a tight crunch because I knew the last thing was council reports, so I knew that would hold us accountable. Secondly, if Councilman Hammer wasn't going to say anything, I was going to suggest, as I reflect and I look at this makeup of this council, I see subtle signs of going down the same trail that I went down in regards to being burnt out spending 20 hours at, City Hall trying to figure this out, trying to understand that. Same thing that burnt out Councilman Bailey. And I almost faced it as well. So I just want to encourage council, to the point of Mary and Martha, the message I got from it is don't get so busy for God that you forget God. So with that, make sure y'all aren't burning yourselves out too much. And we have staff that's here 9 to 5. Like some of these things, Councilman Hammer, we can just give them direction. Like, we gave the directions just now from Councilman Langevin regarding the $50 million bond. We can give the same direction regarding, the Infrastructure Advisory Board and the Sustainability Board towards our directors. I believe we as council, govern the board per se, but we give direction to our city manager, who then gives direction to staff. So instead of adding more to your plate, maybe we can say, hey, when he walks in on Monday, tell him, hey, congratulations, but this is another thing we would like for him to look into, which is the Infrastructure Advisory Board, how it can be improved, how you can work with utilities regarding the Sustainability Board, and follow up with us in 30 days, 60 days, however long. And if the subject matter experts don't like what they see, and they come back to us and say, hey, this isn't working, or this isn't going to work, or we can't put this together, then I'll be all for what Deputy Mayor Jaffe suggested in regards to getting rid of the board. So that's all. I love y'all. That's why I'm speaking like that. I face burnout up here. I don't want to see y'all having the same thing. It affected my family, affected me. I don't want to see it on y'all. So that's all.
Thank you, Councilman Johnson. Deputy Mayor Jaffe.
Thank you, Mayor. I just reiterate a rebuttal comment of burnout. If just all the council members participated equally, others wouldn't have to work more. I point Pete Filberto to the TPO Citizens Advisory Committee. That concludes my report.
Thank you. So I'll start off by just saying a great report. The very first thing is our city of Palm Bay has earned the top spot as the best city in America, in the entire nation, for first-time home buyers in a 2025 study released by personal finance outlet WalletHub.com. The report analyzed 300 cities across the country, ranking them based on affordability, the real estate market strength, and the quality of life. Palm Bay stood out in several key categories, including active home listings, per capita new building permits, and high millennial home ownership rate. According to the study, Palm Bay residents can also look forward to their homes growing in value, as the city has the third highest home appreciation rate in the country, in the nation. Homes in the city were worth 108% more in 2023 than in 2023. So I add, those are positive things that the city and our leadership have been working on. So then I want to turn the table a little bit. A war hero has gone to be with the Lord. The young man, and I know you guys have heard me mention Alcadio Santiago Rodriguez, Master Sergeant, United States Army, Silver Star recipient. To me, I believe he was the smartest infantryman in the history of the United States Army. Now, let me tell you why. I'm reading from the actual, which I believe it warrants. He just recently passed. Tomorrow is his funeral. On 27 April 1951, near Hagbok, Korea, while approaching through a pass, a reinforced enemy battalion was fired on by 3rd Platoon Company K, which had taken a blocking position astride the pass. When his squad leader was mortally wounded, Private Santiago Rodriguez voluntarily assumed command of the squad. Receiving orders to withdraw, he organized the squad and led it to a more tenable position. During a later assault to drive the enemy from the ridge, Private Santiago volunteered to carry a wounded comrade to safety. Suddenly, encountering 5 enemy soldiers, he placed his wounded comrade on the ground and opened fire on the enemy. After killing 4 hostile troops, he captured the 5th. He had the presence of mind to capture the 5th and force him to evacuate his wounded man to the battalion A station. The gallantry and initiative displayed by Private Santiago Rodriguez reflect a great credit upon himself and the United States Army. I don't know about you, but that to me should have been the Medal of Honor. To have the presence of mind, not to shoot that 5th enemy soldier and say, now wait a minute, you're going to carry my buddy so that he could get fixed. So I honor, he retired Master Sergeant after 30 years of service in the United States Army, and he also received a Bronze Star. He also received the Congressional Gold Medal for being part of the Army 65th Infantry Regiment. Anyway, that concludes my report. I will be at that funeral, and if any of you want to pay tribute to this war hero, it will be at Our Lady of Lourdes in Melbourne at 1:30 in the afternoon tomorrow. That concludes my reports. Mr. Morton, any additional reports?
Yeah, real briefly, I'll cut most of it out. I don't think I'll start filing written reports because it always feels like I'm a little rushed to communicate, but I did want to communicate one thing so the public can know, and it was actually suggested to me by Ms. Connolly that I communicate this because usually I don't communicate these kinds of things, but she was surprised to know what initiatives I'm doing to be transparent, engaged, and accessible to the public. So on that note, of course, we got the Coffee with the City Manager starting. We do a monthly lunch and learn, which kicked off, where we invite a community member in once a month to meet with our executive team and staff. I think this time we had about 38 people meet with someone, and we learn from them, we listen, we engage, we try to understand. We've done 2 open houses already. We did one on Turkey Creek. We did one on the San Felipe Road closure. We have more coming. We're going to start doing an biannual every 6 months, do a utilities open house, communicate, engage, share projects, share what we're doing. And the other 6 months, do a public works open house. So it's just strategies to keep our community informed and engaged. We've begun hitting the HOA circuit. I'm on several HOA meetings and meeting invites. I'm meeting with 2 to 3 citizens a week that can get a hold of me. It's hard to do more than that. So I met with 3 different individuals this week, meeting with several more next week. And so, just in terms of that, we're working with a strategy consultant who's giving us some time to reevaluate our social media, make sure we're consistent, coherent, clear, reaching audiences. And then we're also investigating the use of AI in some of our communication. So she suggested I share that just so the public knows we're trying to be, as a city leadership team, more accessible and engaged with the community. And I'm going to leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Madam Attorney?
Nothing further.
Okay, this concludes our meeting.